And we're all
makes me
back.
click something.
It does?
Does yours all pop up?
Just lets you know that you're being recorded. What you're saying now is on the record.
Yeah.
You have to click got it.
Voice. Yeah. Guys, hello.
Hey.
Gang's back together.
We're all here. This is so great. Bracken, did you catch any sun in?
Look at my face.
Yeah, it looks red.
Yep.
Windburn.
Is that windburn?
It's both
Milwaukee windburn?
A lot's changed since I've been gone.
Give us the rundown.
Yeah.
Well, Jack's got a thick set of everything going on.
Thick set
and
of
you're all
everything.
cleaned up. You got your background really popping.
Yep. Better believe it.
Wow.
I'm old faithful over here, Bracken. Nothing's changed between
You are. And I've seen you already twice. Well, 1.5. I was barely there. I was barely coherent for our Glenn Race interview.
When we interviewed Glenn Race, it looked like you had smoked weed for like 6 days straight. Your eyes were so bloodshot and glossed over. It was incredible. But I knew it was jet lag.
Yeah, we had a bad travel back.
Did what's the difference there? 6 hour?
Well, it was 6.
From
And
East
then on
Coast or
day
from Central?
3 or 4, 6 from us in Central in God's standard time. And then when we got over there on the 3rd or 4th day, they had their daylight savings time and it switched to 7.
That's tough. Oh,
Like,
Meg
what
told me
is
that.
this
Meg told me
nonsense?
about that actually. I was like, that's tough, especially for a race. They
Yeah.
sprung forward.
Yeah, so we lost another hour. So it's only a 7 behind.
That's tough.
I'm a champ.
But you persevered, as you do. All right. So things to cover today. We're talking Savage Race. The second race of the series happened there. We also have some Battle Bunker stuff to cover. We wanted to cover some of the results, some of both of those races and kind of what they mean. Any other happenings in the news of niche endurance sports this past week?
Well, I think there was something like 16? No, more than that. What was it, Jack? How many? 24 guys broke 850 in a 2-mile at Arcadia or something crazy?
Josiah's son broke 9. But yeah, the number of kids, they're way
14
too
or
fast in
16?
high school right now.
That's not
There's
a
a time-
niche endurance sport. I don't know if you heard the way Rich
Is this
phrased that.
high school?
2-mile?
high school,
That feels
uh,
niche.
High
The
school
winner
2
was
mile?
8:34. So gross.
8:34, fastest high school time ever. He broke German Fernandez's time by a 10th.
Herman?
Unbelievable. No, he
But-
broke Colin Solomon's record.
I thought it was Lucas Verbicas.
Oh my goodness.
What
I
do
thought he
we
went
even know,
829.
We're talking the high school fastest high school time ever, which I
thought it was
believe
Lucas.
which I
Or it was the meet
believe
record.
means it has to be a high school only race.
So you're going to get
Semantics.
everybody at Arcadia.
That's a high school
So
only
double
race,
check.
Arcadia? I'll look.
Anyway, there was a time you ran 852, 855, and you were top 1 to 4 in the nation, and you were punching your ticket anywhere. Now there were 16 guys broke 850,
Yeah.
and Josiah's son sub 9.
859 point.
Did he race
2
there?
or something? Yeah.
And
Porter.
he was a straggler in that heat. If he was in the hot heat, then that's insane.
How long do you
Imagine-
guys think right now you step in that exact race right there? How long you hanging on until you just blow up?
Half mile?
3 laps.
I was gonna say I'm probably 3 laps and then I'm kicking home to finish that 3rd lap.
Imagine coming back to high school on Monday. Like, so how'd you do in your race? Like, I got dropped. I took 22nd. What'd you do? I ran 859.
And then everybody will look, all your friends will be like, what does that mean?
Broke the school record, broke the state record. I'll get a D1 ride anywhere, but I took 22nd in my race.
Running's in a different place right now, though, for like the younger generations. College too. Like I mentioned, a month or 2 ago at D3 Nats, the winner, 1 and 2 went like 1340 and 1340 something for D3.
Yeah.
You could potentially be an All-American in D1 a decade or 2 ago in that.
Yeah,
It's insane.
absolutely. What do you think this is going to mean then for collegiate track and field with the athletes being this? Because you said, oh, you run 859, you punch your ticket anywhere, but can you now? Like, do
Not
you,
anywhere.
Right. Like Oregon's probably full. Stanford's probably full. They probably have plenty of those guys.
Look at that. Lucas Verbicas.
Yeah, that was.
Well, I'm not
829.
arguing the time.
Oh.
That
I'm
was
saying the classification of
that
the
was
record.
at, I think that was at Prefontaine or something.
I'm on Track and Field News and it says boys high school records. So it says
There's
high school.
NFHI
I
or
know.
something like
Okay.
that. NFHS or something where it's a Federation of High School Certified something. That's what he broke.
Gotcha.
And it was German Fernandez. So you are correct.
We're both correct.
No,
Yeah.
that's
No,
not how
he
we're
broke
rolling.
Colin Solomon's record.
Oh my goodness.
Kirk's throwing curveballs.
At least the meat record. He broke the meat record. Maybe that was
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. We should move on.
we're doing great.
I'm
at
going
being
mute. I'm
media.
going in research mode. You guys.
All right, Bracken's going to go find
Yeah.
whatever he needs to do to affirm his position. So just how Jack did, ignored what Bracken said and just said, "Here,
That is exactly what I did. I'm looking at my phone for like a minute. I'm like, sorry, Bracken.
I'm
You're
finding
coming
out-
back here
I'm finding
from a
out the
week
information.
vacation and
that I want to find out."
Yeah.
So let's talk about Savage to get things rolling, and then maybe we can pick up this Scholastic, because I'm interested also in how college track and field and cross country, how the transfer portal looks like. Bracken has found his
Jeez.
affirming information.
he raised his hand.
A National Federation high school record, which broke German Fernandez Riverbank High record. So I don't know what that means.
Who is Kirk talking about? Where,
It must be the meat record.
He broke the meat record.
Meat
Oh, the
record
meat
from
He's right about
Cage.
meat record. Jack's right about fastest all-time high schooler, and this is National Federation. This, if the four of us don't understand this, why do we have all
Yeah,
this
why
doing
why
it?
did we waste like 10 minutes?
way too
We
many
all
ways.
right.
We
That's
lost
what people are
all
here
the
for.
listeners.
Be right. No,
Yeah.
we're all right. We're all very smart.
Everybody
No
was
one's
right.
about our particular thing.
Nobody cares about what we're
I
talking
didn't hear
about.
Rich mention
16.
it, throw a name in the loop right there.
I corrected Bracken when he started saying German. I said Herman because I believe that's how it's
Okay,
Herman.
there we go.
So
Also, equally depressing, 9 girls went sub 10 in the 2 mile.
Oh, that's fast.
So the real question is, how many of us could have won that race? 9:51, 9:52,
9:51.
10:08. That's my PR. I couldn't have.
9:53, maybe. I don't know what it was. I ran 9:53 in high school. Rich
It wouldn't
was
be a walk
fast.
in the park. That's for sure.
I would have
No.
been kicking my life away to hang on.
In high
Yeah.
school. That's a long race for you though, dude.
It's more than 7 minutes. So
An 8-lapper,
Yeah.
6 more than you want. Kirk, what was your 2 mile? Were you right around 9:50 as well?
9:54 as a junior. I never ran it as a senior.
Yeah, I was
Stuck to the 8.
went down. It was hard to get a fresh run at the 2 mile, just because of
I
like the way
soloed
dual
my
mates were.
10:08. Yeah.
Everybody was,
10:44 as a junior.
does it count as soloing if like people are 30 seconds in front of you and then you're right in?
Yep.
And
Oh no, I
that
won
counts?
that one.
Close enough.
I won that one.
Yeah, I did it was a 9:32, I think,
Stood.
as a junior.
Yeah, it's quick.
As a junior, yeah, it was the only time
Jack.
I ever ran it fresh.
Yeah.
You went from a 27-minute 5K down to a 10:08 2 mile. That's spectacular.
It really is.
Yeah. I
You
was
completed
bummed.
2 miles at your 5K
approximately.
pace.
Yeah.
per mile.
I didn't need my solid water bottle either during the 2 mile, which I brought on the course with me so I didn't get dehydrated.
Poland
Did you have an
Springs out
orange
there.
mud
with you.
quiver?
Did I have a what?
An orange mud quiver?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, come on.
Also
Did
confused
you
about
wave at your parents when you ran by them out on course?
No, they
Mom,
left because they
hi,
were so
Dad.
embarrassed. Yeah.
That's good support.
Did I tell you the story about my brother? I'm not even the slowest in my family.
Yeah.
Did I mention that? Where my brother got dead last in the middle school state meet. So it was pretty bad.
Made the state meet.
Great.
Middle school.
Well, everybody makes it in middle school basically. And I was out there with my mom and she's just on the sidelines. We're just waiting for Jim to come by. Everyone's coming by. The kid like in crutches comes by. No Jim. She's like, he got kidnapped. There's no,
He's in
he's
crutches.
dead. She's freaking out. And then like 2 minutes later, you're just like, just jogging slower than any human in history. And he's dead last and he loses to everybody in the state meet. I'm like, oh, it's not a good running pedigree for us Bowers.
Is that 2.5 middle school cross country?
2. It was a
Two.
2-mile course on Londonderry.
Now, I haven't put a lot of thought into
Londonderry, holler.
kidnapping before,
Yep.
but I think if I were to kidnap someone, I think the young Bauer boys would have been a good candidate.
Pick 'em off the
Real
back.
pale, really slow, light sensitive, probably had your transition sunglass. I think you would have
I never had those are so dumb. I don't do
I
that.
think you probably had one.
No, I didn't have glasses until like junior year of high school, and I needed them for the driver's test. So No, I never had those transition glasses. I shaped up by then. But yeah, I would have been pretty easy to
Prime kidnapping target.
prime kidnapping target.
I want to know if there's legit a kid on crutches, because if that's the case, your brother should just dig himself a hole.
It's pretty funny.
The kid was probably not on crutches. That might have been embellishing, but he was definitely not the fittest individual, we'll say.
Okay, that's rude.
Yeah, he'll make fun of it though.
So do we
Anyway,
watch?
moving on.
Did we watch Savage this weekend?
Actual racing.
Actual racing,
Well,
yeah.
you did ask about niche. The online grit games is happening.
That's still ongoing. However, I believe that's a couple
True,
weeks.
but there's a ranking.
Is
and
there,
our
is there a
boy-
ranking?
Ian
Floyd?
Floyd's in 15th in his first pro division ever.
Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Some of those workouts look nasty.
5-minute sandbag over, like
I mean, that one's okay, but there's like a chipper that is to start with 80 wall balls, like, and then 60 burpee box jump. It's just like a descending ladder where it starts and ends with 8. There's a couple workouts there that are pretty nasty.
What's on the line for the online grit games? What's the end
There's some cash.
goal?
$500
Is it
bucks.
cash?
Yeah.
Okay.
$500.
It's a Is it a weekly release? I haven't kept up on it. A weekly workout release?
So it looks like there's 5 workouts.
They're all
and
released. I think.
They're all released, but I think you have to do them in some over the course of 2 or 3 weeks.
It's how OCR Stars was originally.
Yes.
It's unfortunate
Well, I
timing
went-
with Battle Bunker right now that there's 2 online. One has to run a mile, the other has to run a 5K. Like squeezing those in the same week's not ideal for a lot of people.
No. Yeah.
plus a different workout.
Yeah. Meg Jacoby was doing both, and I'm like, this doesn't work. This is too much stuff to do.
When are you going to train?
Exactly.
You're just going to be competing. I started clicking on people's names. I don't know who it was that released like the top 15 list, and they linked their Instagrams. And it was just interesting how many people I don't know them. Either I'm
Big
under
lifting.
a rock, or these are like a lot of strength athletes with a
Yeah.
lot of like
Oh,
videos
Battle
of
Bunker.
Olympic platforms. Whatever I've been watching has been like, was it Battle Bunker that put that out? Either way, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people.
Big time. Battle Bunker has some those workouts
Mike
seem to have
Brown.
skewed. Yeah, those skewed very heavily strength. Mike Brown seems to be an Olympic lifter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he did like 450
Creeped on
for a 3-rep max squat, and then 205 for a 3-rep overhead press, and I think he was like 520 for the mile. That's a freak.
Yeah, that 520 is gross with what he does on a
Yeah.
daily basis.
Let's
There was
pull it
someone
up.
with 6:15, but he ran like 5:56 or 6 minutes. Like, still great. You're running around 6 minutes with the 6:15 combined. That's really good. But 520 is
go.
disgusting.
Wait,
You got everything up?
454.
What's that?
Somebody went 454.
And that was like a fast time. I'm gonna pull up
With a 620.
Holy smokes.
That's
Dude.
420 and
Oh.
200.
I don't understand how he did 828 in that Metcon then.
Yeah, that was
Like
the one
his
that
ga-
really
his-
confused me.
His gas tank's there. He's super strong, but he just sucks at doing both at the same time.
Well, look at Jimmy Hughes, 505,
I didn't think he
504.
had that strength in him. That's impressive.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy's really
Jimmy
strong.
and Marshall. Jimmy and Marshall, though, the FCT time is confusing.
Yeah, you would think that'd be better. So let's just run through the leaderboard here. We're
Who's
talking.
this Aston Dommel. What a ridiculous 667 for those two.
So we're pulling up. So let's just give a little background on what we're talking about, because we're just looking at a leaderboard and saying names and numbers. So Battle Bunker released 3 workouts, and they've done all of the scoring here. Is a 1600 meter. They needed it on a track. I believe they needed it on a track. There's a strength superset, what they called, which is a 3-rep max bench. Strict press and back squat. And then there was a Metcon, which was 30, 20, 10 burpees. Dumbbell thrusters at 50, 35 for women, and burpees over the dumbbells. And then the combined scores are all put into here. Do we want to look
And I
at?
think you had to interrupt. I think you had only like 5 minutes to get your superset total.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yes. So that was challenging to do more than one shot at the squat, to then add weight, because you don't want to fail something like that. So do you want to put it up by region? Because this international.
Expand the 25 entries just so we can see like who barely missed the cut. I'd be curious.
That's what I mean. We're not in the region
Okay.
yet.
Gotcha. Weast.
This leaderboard, bad leaderboard.
Where's the actual point totals? Is it on the far right, or what are we looking at?
That's what
total score.
That's what I mean. And this thing's like
Oh.
they
They
another
should
thing.
shorten strength superset total to a shorter name, so you can fit columns.
I mean, but they still don't have the. They should put the total number of points before they shorten any.
Yeah,
of
it's
the,
a hunter comp. You're not going to know your scores.
I know it. That's what this
Mhm.
is, and I don't think they took out the region scores from the total scores, which would change, right? Like if you take out everything, if you take out everybody from the East and International, ANAS is in front of VJ. But since they didn't do that for this, they just left your score the same that it was with everybody in it, even within the region. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
he missed out on top 21.
Say that,
as a
yeah.
result.
Yes. So say that
Why would he pass him?
because his strength total was higher. So
So
his strength, like that score total number within the region would drive him up, but because there's maybe people in the East who in international keep him down. But when you filter by region, it doesn't change. And maybe this is just an oversight on their end, or maybe it's just like they're just gonna be like, that's how you do it. Run a little bit faster, or whatever Hunter says.
Rich, I see you ran 446. Give me an RPE on your mile.
Oh, that was probably a 9 still, 9-ish.
You're working pretty good.
I was at altitude. I did a hard workout the day before. I'm having some sort of SI issues. I was in some pain for sure. And I was just like, I just don't want to die here. I was like, let me just try to finish this thing. And it was still like the third fastest, I think. So,
okay,
Nice.
if you went down to sea level, is this 5K pace for you?
right. Nah, probably not that fast.
Not with your piriformis also right now. So
Yeah. Thinking it's an SI joint.
SI, gotcha.
SI joint. But like if healthy, if completely healthy, if at sea level, if tapered, still probably not. Probably like 451. Whatever, Kirk, what is your 5K pace right now?
Well, I haven't time trialed or run one since June or July. That was 459 pace, right
Nice.
on the just snuck under.
So I'm at least 458.
At least
That's what I'm thinking.
You know, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but now that Bracken asked that question, I'm curious because you would be a really good case study for this, Rich. As far as you, I mean, you lived at sea level as sea level gets, and now you've been at altitude for however long. If you had to just approximate, now that you're pseudo acclimated, what would you say in a 5K your pacing difference would be with comparable fitness, sea level and altitude?
I would guess 30 seconds on the total 5K.
So you're losing 10 seconds a mile roughly with the same effort and fitness.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's a ton. People
lot.
listening don't think 30 seconds sounds like much or 10 seconds a mile. That's night and day difference. That's half a lap on a track. If you're
What do you think Rich had to deal with in the thrusters and burpees as well? Like,
Yeah.
it's
That was
Mhm.
double
super,
disadvantage.
That was extremely
Right.
unfun. And the mile
Yeah.
too. How much do you think a mile adds? Because I mean, this mile's whatever. I'm fine with this time. But like how much do you think? Because we just had the first person run under 4 minutes in Colorado like last year.
Ever.
So like how much do you think this adds to a mile? I mean, that's because people aren't going to put that type of effort out up here, because why would you do that? Why would you waste a hard effort when you could just go somewhere else, especially when you're a 4-minute miler? But I feel it adds. I mean, I think the
10 to
conversion's
11
like
is the rule
5
of thumb.
minutes. What is it?
10 to 11 seconds is the rule of thumb for Colorado
Gotta be
Springs.
10.
And
Well,
you're
what is the
For
what's
1
the
mile.
conversion say?
I think it says 5 seconds.
NCAA.
I have the conversion. Keep talking. I'll pull it up.
I thought it was
Well-
5 seconds for a mile.
No,
Well,
it's more than that.
What's the altitude cutoff? What do you have to be above, at or above?
You
for that
usually,
conversion? 53, 5,000?
I think 5,000, and then every 1,000 after that is a second or something. I don't know.
Which is also weird because it's exponential.
I would think so too.
Right.
So having done it myself, for me, what I found is I lost an entire deviation of one race. My 5K pace became my 10K pace,
Mm.
or vice versa. Like sea level 10K pace was altitude 5K pace. Now, people who were aerobic monsters had like a half a deviation, is what I saw. But it stopped being an issue at the shorter stuff. Like I did 800 mile time trials out there, and the 800 was within, I would say, a second of what I would do at sea level, but the mile is probably like 5 seconds for me.
That's what I thought this is gonna. I think this is what this is gonna tell us is that.
Do
Like, do you have like a paper
I
version
have
or something? You're literally looking for something.
Here, give me. I have the NCAA conversion calculator, like what they do.
Yeah, this is saying 11.
11 a seconds. You know what this makes me appreciate more than anything is Jack Bauer's beer mile at altitude.
Yeah.
Just really rises.
618. And keep in
Yeah.
mind, I hadn't touched alcohol in 7 years before that. So
I think it's one of your top 2 performances of all
It's your
time.
beer mile. It's
might
true.
be is
What's the
is
other
that
one? That's I mean,
taking a poop and beating Bracken, number
that's
1.
true.
In my eyes, yes.
Yeah, should be.
Granted, I was 1 rep in wall balls by the end, but I think you passed me before the wall balls. Which is the bad
You
part.
were dead on the lunges. Let's just put it that way. So here, Rich, just stop sharing for a sec, and I'm going to share mine because I have the conversion calculator.
Is it going to be the exact same info that we already came up with?
No, it is not.
Let's see.
I don't think the NCAA is as generous as the VDOT.
Yeah. All right, share screen.
Is it allowing? Hold on.
Host participant.
All right, relax.
Just trying to not stall.
I'm just trying to complain. Just trying to
Yep.
stick it to me.
Okay, so we've got the NCAA official conversion calculator right there.
Is it 7
Um,
seconds?
Yeah. So you basically choose your city. So you doing it in Colorado Springs, you're 440 or Denver. I did for you 446 is a 439.15.
I'm a
So
little bit
if you-
high. I was a little bit higher than 52. I was like around 56. Okay.
Okay. So if
Over
we
here
do
in our
Colorado
data.
Springs, for instance, if
The
you're
altitude's incorrect too, because that takes, I think that's city center.
yeah, 6,007 is like right in the middle of downtown. You can adjust it. Also,
Jack and I
like-
were 6,800
no, I'm actually my downstairs is like
Were
5990
when we were
right
at
now. I'm
Cheyenne
6,000. Yeah. But you can adjust it, whatever. So if you do, I'll just do a nice easy 5-minute mile or even 5-minute mile. If you do it at 7,000 feet, that's a 448. If
How
you do
about
it at
10,000? What if you're up at Leadville ripping? What's a 5-minute mile get you?
that's gotta like if you actually run 5 there,
Yeah.
440 on the
20
dot.
seconds. What about if you're on the moon?
Sounds terrible.
What
Yeah,
if
moon.
you're on the
Moon me.
Do it on the moon.
moon you? Okay, well, we're gonna have to turn off the video.
Oh,
If you say you're on top of Pikes Peak, you're on a 5 flat. It's really
Didn't they
a
try that?
424.
Didn't they try it in
Yeah.
Colorado somewhere?
They brought a bunch of like high level Kenyan and world athlete, the WAC, whatever the World Athlete Club, and they tried that, and I don't think anybody broke 430, which is just nasty. So yeah,
Can you
those
imagine
are
lap 3 up there?
no,
No.
no, thank you.
I think lap 1 would be probably the worst, just when you realize like this is a problem. This
Yeah.
is not going to be fun at all. Lap 3, I think the suffering is. I think you're done.
I don't
Can
think
you-
that's how altitude works.
I think it just starts from the moment.
What I found is when I backed off once I cracked, my lungs didn't recover. I stayed cracked. Like jogging it
God.
in wasn't the same at altitude as sea level.
I know we're off the rails now, but Jack, I want you to do me a favor. Oh, you
Sure.
stopped. I wanted
no, I
you to
can
see if it gave you any conversion for like 2,000 feet or 3,000.
Yeah,
If there
that would
was a-
actually be interesting. now that
I'm
you
wondering if
mention
it gives you a conversion starting like immediately, or if it only kicks in. at
Yeah,
a
something like
certain
Las
altitude.
Vegas, which is like 1,000.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah, let's
if
just see.
we're just gonna keep 5 flat because that's the easy number. So 458. So you're losing almost 2 seconds.
So
Living
at Jack typed in 2,000 feet above sea level, and it still gives you a 2-second buffer.
Let's do 1,000 feet.
Let's do
Here,
it
that's
1,000.
about Minneapolis. That's about where I'm at, about 900.
Kirk, you have all the if you run a 1501, you ran 15 or 1459 in my eyes.
Man, so
Right,
you said what? You said 459, so 450. So I'm definitely 457 then for sure.
That makes me 458 pace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm 457. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Jack,
I
let me
think.
see-
Now Bracken lives at like 0 feet above sea
No, let me
level.
see
All right, I'm
6,800
gonna
feet.
check 0 real quick. Let's see what they do.
We're-
505.
0 is unable to calculate, but anyway.
Give me 6,800 feet and give me 508.
Where did-
I'm
Where
gonna
did you
guess
do that, Bracken?
you're probably right at 5 flat.
Because I did
Well,
when
under.
I was out
57.
there training at Bear Creek Dog Park at a mile loop, and I did 3 to 5 by mile with 3-minute rest at 508, and then
That's
did
pretty
the
strong.
incline after. So
That's
that
really
was the
good.
fitness I was pulling back then.
That has some hill also. Like it gets
Is that the most
depending on which
favorite
part
event?
you're on.
No, the actual dog, the park, Bear Creek Park,
Oh,
over by the
flat.
playground. Kids were
Gotcha.
playing. I had to stay centrally located.
Okay, understand. Yeah, so 457. So you were
So
pretty.
that
good
would have
shape
been my
back then.
best lifetime mile rep session.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Sweet. So I ran
See?
a 4:35 conversion with a bum butt.
What do you say?
First workout.
5,600. We'll just give you your thing, and then we can send it to Hunter so
Send it to
that
Hunter.
he can.
Just submit it.
I know I
Yeah,
should have.
just
I'm sure they didn't
just-
even check.
438.5.
nice, Rich.
That's pretty-
438.
That's not bad. I will definitely take.
That's better.
Add in the wind aided or non, and then you might
It's been
get
windy.
430.
Sure.
Yeah.
VJ ran 4:40.
He did it in Waco, or
I don't think
no,
so.
never mind.
No?
He did it. He, did it
441.
back. He tried getting it in Waco.
4:41.
Yeah. So he did it at Colorado College. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kirk, you done with the
I
screen
want to
share?
see what 441 is.
But in
Okay.
VJ's time. And his
Where
was,
was
still,
he?
His was still the fastest.
Oof. 433. But no. This isn't. I'm gonna do it in Colorado Springs because that's in Denver. So we got to give him like a little extra
You're in
adjustment right
Salt
there.
Lake.
432.
It's pretty good. Like a
That's
day
pretty cool.
after a stadion.
Winning a stadium.
Stadion.
I don't know. From I saw from VJ, he's washed up based on his Savage result.
Oof.
He's a golfer.
He's a golfer.
He's
now.
a golfer.
That was the best Savage result from a full-time golfer I've ever seen. Best sport transition I've ever watched come in.
I don't think. I can't see Brooks Koepka doing that anytime soon. He might
We're
be a
being
good
tongue
golfer.
in cheek,
Yeah.
VJ, in case you're wondering.
All
He
right.
looked jacked to me. That was the most jacked VJ I've ever seen.
That's
Dude,
why he took his pants off. I would have too. Like, look at these legs I've been working on.
he had a good squat.
That's what he was showing off.
275 for 3.
It's
Pretty
what
good.
muscle does to you. You look at him at Savage, you look at a Nas running a 443 or something.
2. Yeah.
That's what bulking up does. You go from a 357 to 442.
Anas is also in Ramadan right now, so he did not eat when he did that.
Also, he's lean.
He's fat adapted, dude.
Fat adapted in a mile.
He's ready for the altitude house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. The ultra house.
Ultra. I say that every time. They
Eating
don't like it.
eating keto bricks. Red light only. No blue light anywhere near them.
Uh-uh.
All right. So we could be at Battle Bunker or we could do Savage. We've talked about both kind of all over the place.
Who just missed the mark in Battle Bunker? Since we kind of were talking about that, I know Ryan Kent had to back off because of hamstring injury.
Because of his overarching softness. That's why he decided, which is so let's just talk about the events first and kind of how we're a little surprised by these results. I guess I can pull them back up. Can we pull them back?
How much overhead press work do we do?
Can we
we shout out Caleb Yates out pushing Vidal?
Out pushing?
Yeah, he threw out some weight there. Those are both push exercises.
Yeah. Well, Caleb's huge.
Yeah. He's
Caleb is
probably
a
like 220.
monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Isaiah-
he's huge, but if Isaiah was 6'3", Isaiah would be 420.
Isaiah is also huge, correct?
Yeah.
But like
Isaiah's wide.
Caleb Yates is yoked. So I'm still in the West region here.
Yeah.
I'll just pull up the overall just to kind of see. We'll do men's and women's and how, because that was a little bit different as well. Like the men that we saw.
Man, that's Hop guy.
Right. Like his strength total 6'11".
Who's that third guy who broke 5 and
So-
620 for that?
So,
Wow.
so I was going to ask this question if I could pull up these results and then have you not just say a name and then say a number.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Let's do it.
Look
Okay.
at Aston Dommel.
Oh my goodness gracious. We can't even. So yeah, we can't
Holy.
even, I'm gonna pull this off. I'm gonna pull this whole thing down.
I'll share
But
my
This is
screen
going to
then.
be just nonsense other than like the 50 people who watch us on YouTube.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Jack can't help himself. Oh my god, that number.
I'm over here.
Can you guys see these numbers?
We get hundreds of viewers, don't we? On
hundreds.
YouTube, I saw hundreds.
Absolutely hundreds.
Not
People-
thousands.
Check
but
us out.
hundreds.
Subscribe to us.
Yeah.
So a lot of the names are not familiar names that we've seen in the hybrid space. This seems to be a lot more CrossFit types, and it's an interesting time of the year for this because it's just after the quarterfinal for CrossFit. So none of these athletes are probably games hopefuls. They're people who are like just outside of that, and I think there is a big number of athletes who are that, right? Like that's Isaiah, right? Like he does really well in the open, is really good at CrossFit, but not great at running anymore, but not quite as good at CrossFit as he was. So I think a lot of these are Isaiah types in here because these names we don't know very much.
I barely recognize any. Maybe 5 names in the 25 list.
828 is perplexing.
For yeah, that was a hard workout.
Yeah, but it almost makes me feel like one of these 3 was inputted incorrectly or performed incorrectly.
Because how could you do a 5-minute all out, like a mile under 5 minute, but then maybe Bracken, it's over 7 minutes. Maybe he's cut from your cloth.
It's a fine cloth to be cut from.
Bracken, you gotta be careful because I'm pretty sure 828 is pretty close to Rich's time. So you're really backhanding.
But my strength total
620.
was 140 pounds less or something.
Well, John Driscoll ain't getting a mod shirt.
That's for sure.
So I thought for me, 444 and 450 would be like knocking it out of the park. And I had no clue what I could do on these totals. And I look at this and think, these boys are legit.
Yeah.
You think right now you could have run faster than Rich and out squatted and overhead pressed him?
No, I said perfect results. Like nailing it. And also I'm at sea level.
Sea level.
I thought 300 and 150 would be like best possible case.
Yeah, that'll be a 450.
And I think I probably would have been more like 295 to 300 and 135.
Yeah, so we'd be right around the same. So to come down to
and I'm at sea level.
The functional time, which Anas,
he would have beat me there.
Because he might be out, he had a tough time. I think he was in like 10 minutes.
He was 10 something.
Yeah. So let's pull up the West again. Jack, hold your
these
horses.
numbers, these 6s blow my mind for people who are running sub 6 in a mile.
Cole Schwartz,
really
645.
impressive.
Cole was so
445 on that workout. Okay.
He's a former games athlete. Dude, he's like 5'6", and look at his strength total. So I mean, but also he's like 5'6", 180. So just like
it's a meatball.
CrossFit meatball.
Yeah.
Isaiah's is so good.
Mike Brown's is so good. He
said 537 though. It's just cruising.
Yeah, I mean that's what he's been preparing for. This is like a CrossFit Open workout.
Yeah,
it really is what this was. So I finished 13th. I'll take it. I think VJ is right at 21.
Yeah. Well, if there are 25 on the page,
so never mind. He might be one out.
22. Really? Huh.
So I'm looking at this, and I'm concerned if the workouts are going to be similar to this at the next level. It's like, oh, maybe this is not going to be that great. But if they're workouts that are more like what it was at the actual Battle Bunker competition, which are very endurance based, none of these guys are endurance athletes. This is going to be great for me.
I would assume this is like the restaurant sink system, where at the beginning they just plop it in the water and then they move down the sinks and it removes more and more of the chunks throughout the time and is clean at the end. By the time you get to the actual competition, you're doing really endurance based and they're knocking off the pure endurance athletes now. And so I think you're going to get hybrid in the middle on the next round. That would only make sense to me, that you get rid of the people that couldn't hang on either end and then you start with middle ground. So I think you're going to be sitting pretty. You got through the hardest part.
That's kind of how the CrossFit Open is in reverse.
In reverse.
They give it they allow the endurance athlete to get it through. So the strong athletes can't just get through on strength alone. They have to have some kind of engine. Mm-hmm. Then they weed out the endurance only athletes to get to that mixture of what they're trying to do. Very strong with some endurance. So yeah, I'm hoping.
You like these online competitions, Rich? You've always gotten after these things full throttle. I always
with COVID, yeah.
Well, that's what I remember. You were doing like the Spartan virtual challenges with like Aaron Newell in the kitchen and all that stuff. But what I wonder when I see this, the first thing I think about when I look at stuff like this, and then I see guys like you, a few others, I think like, how would I put this into my week purposefully while still having a goal on something else? Like you want to hit a high rocks time, you want to, whatever you got coming up. I always think feel like these would be distracting to the main task at hand. So
This was
fitting in
ex-
these competitions is tough.
This was extremely distracting. This
Yeah,
was
that's what I'm saying.
terribly
It's
distracting.
a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I did not love this. And I think a lot of people we mentioned Ryan Kent, he saw it that way as well. And he's like, you know what? The ends aren't worth these means. So I'm just going to just cut my losses here, not worry about it. And this is an event that I just can't do. But
one follow-up question, because I'm gonna have to dip here in a few minutes. Is the Running Public virtual challenges still the most money you've made on virtual competitions out of our pocketbook?
no, the OCR stars both years I made quite a bit more.
Because we paid out like $800 to Rich. You remember that, Bracken?
It was like 5 something because I got second and third.
It was my highest virtual competition.
I'm still waiting on your 1099 from that tax year.
Jack busted that ass. Caleb Yates, did Caleb Yates win that beer mile?
He probably did. He can
Thought he
chug.
did.
Yes,
What
he
a
did.
beast.
But he didn't have to adjust for altitude. So
He went like 550, didn't he?
no. I went 618 and the winner was like 608. And I'm like, put us head to head. I'm out kicking you.
Jack, could you make a conversion for a beer mile like Caleb Yates? Well, this is like a mod beer mile situation. Caleb Yates has a 521 mile and a 608 beer mile. I have like a 420 something mile and then
Your mob.
7
Yeah.
well
Your bod, your beer
maximum
adjusted
available under
drugs.
beer or under drunk. It
Yeah.
could be under drinking. It could be the same.
I think Jack's probably was mod and his was probably mob.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Jack, were you feeling tipsy on like your second loop? You're like,
Oh,
"Whoa."
jeez. No, like 40 minutes after I was drunk.
Oh,
Like,
it's a legit buzz. It's a fun
Yeah,
way.
There's no way it
is.
took you 40 minutes.
I was drunk.
Yeah, I'd say
10
I did my
minutes
cool
after.
down. There was
I
this old-
slurred through my cool down.
Alcohol metabolism's like 6 minutes, and that's right in your bloodstream. I would know better than anybody here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Put
you
it
for
on a
bringing in
timer.
that expertise.
I definitely had a designated driver. I was like, this is
We couldn't even
This is
post
not gonna
my
end well.
cool down interview. I was so sloshed.
All right, I'm going to pull up something that is miraculous. I want you guys to see if anything stands out.
Lauren, or we'll go to the women after. But
Well, I mean, that's just classic.
anything stands out.
Wait, what happened?
What?
What happened there? Okay.
Oh, wait, huh?
What on earth?
Where is it?
I mean, we have a sub 5 to start with.
Where is my guy Dylan Scott here? There he is.
He just made it, right?
He just made
280.
it. No, I mean not even that, but his run time.
508, I would have expected fast. So he's performing at like 100% capacity. during
His mod's
races, it
100.
seems.
His
Yeah.
mod is 100.
He might be the
110
best
maybe.
modder out there.
A
He might
50
get faster with a little bit of fatigue to
Yeah.
loosen him up.
a 5830 high rocks and a 508. I'm sure this was like his 10th workout of the week, and he probably did this on like Monday. So he probably wasn't fresh for this. But like 5830 and a high rocks and runs 508. That's craziness.
That really is.
I think his
Yeah.
course was short. That's what we're
His
pointing to.
his mile course, I agree. This is probably
Have any of you talked to him about his 280?
no.
Because it's not real.
I mean, yeah, he probably just put up a time. And the East was a little bit easier to qualify through. As I mean,
It's like the NBA for forever.
VJ beat him in every one of these, and he's the last one in, and Dylan's like 20th or something like that. So the East was a little bit weaker in terms of total performance here, but he made his way through if he's going to do it, and he probably is doing the Grit Games one too as well.
Is it a clean slate next round? They start back from square one.
Yes, it's an in-person competition.
Oh,
I
it is.
see.
Okay, they're getting together.
I see 3 guys under 5 minutes and 2 of them were 459. So yeah, East was the place to live if you wanted
There's
to
a
qualify.
454 in there.
I know. I said 2 were 459.
John Driscoll, that's pretty impressive.
That's solid
Oh,
across the board.
wait, that's our guy that we were talking about in the total.
Who's the third?
Scroll down.
We're doing
It
it
was
again.
next to Dylan.
Oh, that's right. Dylan didn't break. I forgot.
Eric Williams. Yeah.
Oh, Dylan.
All right, let's take a look at the women. So on the men's end, let me just
I
top
want to
3.
remind him that Benny Gifford has a 457, which I rabbited him to. So Dylan, if you want that sub 5, hit me up.
So one thing that they said,
Oh, real quick, I rabbited Benny on a 2 mile. He's like, I want to break 11 minutes at altitude. So I do that, and I'm hitting every single lap in like 82 seconds or whatever it needs to be. And at the end of lap 6, heading into lap 7, he just sprints by me. I'm like, well, he's feeling good. And he just ran an all-out 400 at the end. And he was only done with 7 laps. I'm like, what kind of like person doesn't know you need 8 laps during this race? So I couldn't believe that he didn't know how many laps were in a 2 mile.
Some high school stuff right there. Indoor that happens.
Bad coaching at the time.
Bad coaching. Yeah.
Bad coaching.
I got to roll, fellas. It's been
All right.
real.
Kurt,
Taxman calls.
thank
so I
you
have
for
to
joining
dip,
us.
guys.
One of these times we'll
We
have
had
the
to-
full gang back.
We had to
together.
have the crew. We got it for a little bit, and we're happy.
Of
We
any
did.
40-minute episode we've ever done, this was the most useless to
Totally.
even be here for.
So it was.
Yes. Complete blob. Complete
And
blob.
I'm trying to take a lot of credit for that. I come back to the team and we get off track.
Hey,
Yeah, I
next
mean-
week we're talking fantasy draft, so it'll be very important that Kirk will be back.
Jack, have you started?
I'll be back.
I've
next week.
asked. I've got names.
Are we going to have
Bye,
enough to
guys.
draft?
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
See
See
Bye,
ya.
Kirk. Bye, Kirk. Bye, Kirk.
Yes, we
Wait.
will.
As
We're
a
gonna have enough.
teacher, when you ask someone a question and their answer is partial and also in a different direction, you know that the task is not complete. Like if we said, "Hey, is your book report done?" and they said, "I started. I asked." That's it, Jack. You're setting off red flags with me.
No, I can tell you names if you want,
And this is the next step. You give
or
some vague,
we can wait until
vague-
next week.
Teaser.
How about that?
Excellent
How's
teaser.
your book
Not
report
feeling
going,
confident.
Bracken? How's yours?
How's what?
How's your book report going? Since you're deflecting as well.
Well, I don't know what that means in my case.
But did you do any research on names who are going to be here?
Well, no, but I
Oh.
never claim to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
worse.
go on a wing and a prayer.
You just
on our
skip the
team.
assignment and copy from your
No,
classmate.
we show up and we're good test takers.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not here for the daily work.
Yeah.
I got redemption this year. It's happening.
Same
Who
here.
won last year?
Hey, I'm the inaugural champ.
Who won?
Yeah, it took 2 brains.
You
for you
guys
to
won.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Whatever. We got to eat our pizza, Jack.
Yeah. Rich, I was just wondering who just missed the cut while we're just finishing up with the guys, because I saw the West Coast. You showed the top 25. I'm just wondering who
We don't quite
just
know
missed
yet.
it?
I mean, I don't know if these are considered finalized. So
No, there's videos to be reviewed.
yeah.
So it looks like Frank Walsh is 22. Tough.
Okay. I'm just looking like notable names, seeing the in the
There's-
West. but-
There's also, they did an international, but again, and we don't know how they're going, if they did break this out by like how they're actually going to score this, if this is the correct scoreboard. It doesn't seem to make much sense the way that they're doing it.
Yeah.
And there was also this international field, and what they said they're going to do, because they think they only had like 11 on the men's side. So top 21 qualify through. So technically they all would make it, and it's still not a huge turnout. So they were saying they were going to dissolve this region and and then split everybody within the international field into the East and West. And however they lined up in that group is then they could come over for their semifinals. So they would then ask the international athletes to come over for the semifinal and then the final.
Potentially.
Yeah,
Ugh, that's a lot.
which is tough because the
Doing
top.
some- Keep
What do you-
going. Keep
I
going.
said the top athlete overall. How would we say it? Guillaume?
Yeah. Billy Bouchard. That's his
Guillaume.
American. Guillaume.
Guillaume Bouchard. He was the top overall of everybody.
Yeah. Those are strong marks across the board.
Totally. And Thomas Terverdict, he was on Elite 15 last year. Tom Wiles is legit. James Muscart, he's another guy who's pretty legit at the High Rock stuff. So there's some good athletes.
I think
here.
Tomas might be your favorite name to pronounce. You've rolled that every time you've had to mention him in High Rocks, like you just have fun saying his
like a
name.
nail, bang. Because I met him at the Elite 15 and I was like, pronounce this name for me. And he said it and I was like, do that again. And I probably asked him 5 or 6 times, like, I'm sorry. Could you say that again? So, well, to be seen what happens with the international athletes. And then on the men, did we see who was the last on the
I just want like page or expand the 25. That's what I'm saying.
Expand it to 50.
Yeah. Like who is just after that? Do we know anybody? Lane Meierstein. I met him a couple days ago at Tamara's, or I was with them.
Anthony
That's- he just
Parasini,
missed it.
that's Lauren's husband, was just out.
He's strong. Johnny
Danny
Morris.
Morris. No, Anthony's a beast, dude. When he's
Yeah.
like in shape, he's a legit beast. Sam Osborne, who I
Yeah.
think is 5th right now in
Colorado.
Savage Series. Yep, Colorado
Mike
dude.
Confer, he had a bunch of Spartan Stadium races back in the day. He was always in the series. Yeah, Rich Smith from Texas. Remember him?
Let's see who's under here on
Yeah.
the East.
Tyler Movsesian from, I think he's from Massachusetts. I met
See a
him
Matt
before.
Kemp down there.
Mo Session.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
were talking about the Savage to golf thing. Matt Kemp, baseball to
Yeah, college baseball.
battle bunker. Yeah. Oh, I'm talking like the LA Dodgers, Matt Kemp.
Oh,
back in
this
the day.
Matt Kemp played college baseball.
Oh, he also did? Okay.
I work with him. It's no big deal.
I met him at OCR Worlds.
Looks like you got to work with them thrusters a little bit more with them, Bracken. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows?
All right.
He's coming off some time away with some knee torn stuff in there.
Oh,
This
that's
was
not
his
that's
first
not
thing
great
back.
for that's not great for squats or burpees, really.
No, we're talking months away from
Speaking of knees, how the hell did Corinna do so well if she just had ACL surgery?
She's moving really well. I don't know if you've seen her sets.
Yeah.
We're moving on to the women again. Jack, remember, audio
her
platform
rehab
mostly.
videos
That
are what pro athletes do.
It seems like it.
She's doing it.
It seems like she's really getting back to it. Do you remember when she had that injury? It was during a what's the one with the
She's doing a competition.
tactical.
ping ping ping? Yes, during a tactical games situation.
It was last year in warm weather, though.
So less than a year.
As far as I am aware, yeah.
It's a very
Just-
fast recovery compared to others that we've seen in this sport.
Make the Adrian Peterson comp. Maybe she is built like that. But these are more familiar names. On the women's end, Meg Jacoby, this is all the regions. It was Meg Jacoby, Lauren Weeks, Jess Petro. I'm not super familiar with.
She's done well, and she did one of the Deco World Championships in Atlantic City. I remember
Okay.
seeing her name.
Louisa
Maybe
Sharp.
strong per mile.
I don't know that name either.
450 for strength. Look at compared to the rest of the people above her, she's almost 100 pounds stronger.
Clearly a strength athlete. Then we had
Yeah.
Corinna Coffin, Carly Wopat, who we've seen, Tara Jackson, Calypso Sheridan, Katie Knight. That's all in top 10. JoJo Kelly, she's in the High Rocks field. So a lot more athletes
Brittany
that we're
Bangor.
familiar with.
We've seen her.
Okay. Yeah, Alondra was down further
Alondra.
than I thought.
Lauren Rentala.
Lauren Montala's in this mix. Jareen, who got third last year at Battle Bunker. Camilla's on here.
Camilla's down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ida threw her hat in the mix, who won Battle Bunker last year. And I don't even know what
Yes.
place this is.
I saw her on a post. Matt B. Davis posted like, here are the people from the East and West, and she ended up she's definitely in the top 21. But did you see next to her name
21.
it says West Coast, not international?
Yeah, I don't know how. I guess you could
A
just.
few of them are off.
I guess you could just say that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it seems like most people, if they did want, there's only 25 entries on the West Coast, or yeah, I think there's only 51 total on the female
Yeah.
side. So
The
25.
the woman above Ida, Samantha Faddis, she was in podium contention at Deca Fit Sacramento a couple weeks ago.
Okay, nice, great. So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot more familiar names. It's a little more exciting to see how this is actually going to play out into the semifinals, which is in June, sometime in June.
Rich.
then. Yes.
I want to know something.
Okay.
As someone who works with, I think, Meg, are you
Yeah.
working with, or are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
What capacity are you doing there? Or is that not really a public consumption there?
Oh, of how much I'm doing.
How involved are you?
So, in terms of the total amount of work that she's doing, I'm probably writing 50% of it, and then we communicate often.
So with that communication, how hard did she go after this 1600?
As hard as she could. The weather wasn't great for her because the next day I think she ran 17:20 for a 5K.
Oh.
So
Oh,
yeah. So I think she
her
had some
mod's
like
fantastic if that's true. Then
she had some icy conditions. Because I think that she should be faster than Tara in a 1600.
I'm curious, Jack.
Yeah.
What that mod comment means.
Oh, a 526, and she goes 520 or 1720 the next day. It's like, isn't 1720 like 530 pace?
Yeah, but what does
So
that have to
I
do
was
with mod?
Yeah, you're trying to make mod a thing within running itself.
I'm trying to say that I would have expected her top end speed to be a little higher than 526. If not,
I
she's kind of
fully
like Dylan,
agree,
where
but
yeah,
that's not mod. Sorry.
Might have to
I
send you.
screwed up then.
Gonna have to send you the mod
So what my-
episode link.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the mod,
and
okay.
a shirt.
Send you
I'll
a
pay
shirt.
it. Yeah, hey, you can do that.
But my question then was going to be, what does that say about Lauren Weeks? She ran 528. Was she in Utah
Yes.
Probably.
at altitude 528?
Mm-hmm.
For someone who just claims not to be fast and doesn't have that, and Meg's the runner of high rocks along with Michaela, Lauren's doing it.
Lauren's gonna be as fast as anybody. Her and Meg are not that
Yeah,
different
it's
in
wild.
running speed.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be
She
a
just
battle.
Does it.
She just does
Oh my
the thing.
goodness, I can't wait.
It's gonna be an absolute battle.
This has probably been my biggest takeaway from this competition is that those two are going to be nasty, and Michaela. I cannot wait for High Rocks Worlds because of what I'm watching them do here.
It seems like Michaela's having some health issues. If you follow along, she's been posting a lot of it on her Instagram.
Really?
She's been like in and out of the hospital, some sort of respiratory cardiac
Oh, like real
situation, like real health
wow.
issues. And even when she did doubles with Meg, when they broke the record a couple weeks ago, she did not seem like she was at full capacity. Like Meg was kind of dragging her along.
These two are going to go at it.
But those two, and it's just a toss up. On any day, I think either one could beat the other.
Especially look at these numbers. Very similar running. Meg's got the edge in strength. Lauren has the edge in the work right there.
Yeah.
Again,
We can both go unbroken at 100 wall balls, so like it's going to be decided before that.
This settles nothing here.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I would say this is interesting because total strength, like Meg in her background is, from a strength perspective, is powerlifting, right? Like straight up, put it on. I'm just going to move it up and down and I'll do it more than you. Where Lauren is CrossFit, where that's more a little bit technical, a little bit more skill based, which a thruster is going to be more skill than a straight up back squat, right? So
Especially dumbbell.
Dumbbell, right? Or and like even like the burpee, like there's a little bit of know-how there if you do it enough, like not that much, but whatever. But in how different the two are, they kind of even out.
Yeah, they just balance each other out. Nothing's been decided.
And either one could probably reach the other one's numbers if they just put like a little bit of focus on it for
they're not that
6
far
weeks.
off.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be good. Or on the dude side, who the heck knows?
Yeah.
So I looked up John Driscoll.
Okay.
The only result I can, there's a lot of John Driscoll athletes online.
Yeah.
Only one I could find that makes any sense was 5,200 something at the 2020 CrossFit Open.
5,200.
Does
Okay.
he live in the eastern half of the U.S.?
I mean, I didn't get there, but I found one athlete who's a CrossFit athlete and I couldn't find any results on him. So he's either an absolute monster or something's going to be looked at on his run video.
Is he the guy with the pizza as his profile picture?
I didn't get to profile. I was looking up,
Okay,
I tried to
'cause
find athletic results to see if I could find can this dude run like this while lifting like this?
Because I've got John Driscoll here. Like maybe he's sponsored by a pizza company or something. But
Maybe
And
he just likes pizza.
You don't
That's
want to
true.
be the person online doubting someone's results because we don't know the guy. This is more of a compliment to him than anything else. But to put up a 620 and a 454 is beyond freakish to me.
Because that could be, let's see. So he does if he does,
Say 400 and 220 or 420
it would
and
probably
200.
more. It'd probably be more like 440
yeah, like 170 or something.
and 180. Yeah. So like a big squat, which is like that's a big squat for us, but for a CrossFitter, everyone at the semifinal will be squatting that much.
Yeah, they can all do that, but how many of them could run a 454?
Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot.
So either
But those
is
athletes who would do
him.
that, but Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's like, with the functional time. Like if there was a CrossFit athlete who could do both of those things, they would have a 5-minute flat Metcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the numbers don't fully add up. And we don't know anything about him as an athlete, but
We don't.
we've seen a lot of issues with the run submissions in the past. A lot of issues, people using GPS.
Maybe it's a GPS on a track situation.
And again, I don't even want to put that out there into the world about John Driscoll, but just looking at his
Nope.
numbers, you're like, this guy's
Right.
either a freak
He is. I found the guy. He
or something's
posted.
off.
He posted. This was from February. He ran a 3 flat 34 marathon. And
yes.
he said the next day he did a 315 bench at 180 pounds.
Okay, I did
So
see this guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's legit. 225 times 20 on bench. He's posting video. He's
Just a monster.
yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh,
not apparently not functionally though.
Hunter did a smart thing by making it a 4-lap on the track rather than a mile, even though we hate that because it's not
It's not a mile.
distance that anything other than high school runners do. You shouldn't be able to screw it up.
Yeah. Also, he posted Battle Bunker total strength superset 5 minutes total. He did 165 overhead and 455 for squat. Yeah, he's full depth. This guy is real.
Oh, that's
Posted his video.
that's a fast mile for that total.
Yeah.
Who in our sport could match that?
Hunter.
In our sport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Hunter's, Hunter
I don't know
squat's
if he could
probably that
squat
high.
455.
Probably not that high, but it's probably
He's
close
probably
to 400.
4-ish,
under.
and then what?
And a mile?
180, 170.
In a press.
Hey,
Probably.
oh yeah, I don't doubt his mile. He could probably run 450.
So the equivalent.
But to say that Hunter could maybe run 450 or puts that 454 in perspective of how good Driscoll is,
Yeah.
if that's legit.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, the two things in a vacuum, he's clearly very good, but
So I don't
mixture.
think that
Yeah.
like Richard's showing that basically a 3 flat marathon comes to a 543 mile.
that doesn't.
I think since
hate
he's
these
used on the
comparisons.
CrossFit side, he's gonna be better at shorter stuff than
Yeah.
longer with that.
agree.
Okay, so my question about all this now, having seen all this, how many contenders are left in here? On race day at the Battle Bunker, how many contenders have made it through?
I mean, I don't know what he can do for obstacles.
What was it last year? What was the podium last year for men and women?
Isaiah Kent, VJ got
Jared.
4th. I don't remember.
Jared
Jarrett got 3rd.
Mhm.
Where's Jared?
and
Prepping
He
for
didn't do it.
Go Ruck.
Didn't
Yeah.
do it. Where's Ken?
Go Ruck Games. Yeah, Kent's not here. Yeah. And then
So-
for women, it was Ida,
Lauren and Jareen.
Lauren 2nd, and Jareen
Mhm.
3rd. Was
Yeah.
she?
So I think all the women are there. But
All the women are there.
men,
Opened up.
it's open.
It's to be seen of what this event is going to be, right? Like if
Full
it is
shorts
just
will be dangerous.
Yeah.
He can obstacle.
He and
Please.
Isaiah will be dangerous. I think Caleb's going to be right up there.
Could be.
Depending.
Rich
be for sure.
Ryan, I like his
Rich.
odds. Yeah.
I'm out
You
there.
get
Go-
rich there.
Get me in that. I think Gunther is good. He's a 63-minute high rocks guy. He could be legit.
Matt Osborne has an OCR background. I've seen him in the results several times.
Do you think I should practice some obstacles? I'm probably gonna have to do that.
Fokker.
Why not?
Because I don't want
Dylan?
to.
If it doesn't get too heavy, Dylan's a force.
True.
He can row. He can probably ruck.
I would imagine he
He
could
can
run. He can't.
grind.
He can't run much slower. They put some weight on him. Can't be. It's probably gonna be the same.
Might loosen him up again.
He might
Tomas
just-
Tverdik would be really good. He did OCR for like 6-7 years before switching into high rocks and stuff. He's
He's a big
very
beast.
good. Yeah, and he does like European style OCR, so he's good at that stuff.
VJ gets through,
Yep.
looking jacked. Anas, I think, could be. I don't know how Anas could do on
Austin.
obstacles. Austin, yeah, he could be a real problem.
I like that Anas is doing stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. He
Well, he's
messaged
just
me
putting
asking
himself into that.
if I knew any more competitions like this. Like he wants to try stuff like this.
I like it.
he said it was the first time he's ever done dumbbell thrusters. Was this workout
It's not a good first
So,
first
yeah,
thing
it's
to
a-
do. Yeah.
tough?
Rude awakening.
Tough,
Yeah.
tough, tough.
It's one of the worst fail out feelings on earth, I think, is the arm off to the side dumbbell thrusters. One starts to go and you're like, oh, I can't drive anymore. I can't get anything else out of this thing because it's brutal.
That could be a reason why my freaking SI joint got all wacky, because my thoracic mobility is no good. So I'm really
you're
arching that
back
lower
here.
back to get that up. Yeah.
Are you strict pressing back shaped like a?
Oh yeah. If I'm like pushing from here,
You're
finishing
just bench
through.
pressing. You're doing an inclined bench.
pretty much. So that's an
Real
area,
good for your body.
an area of improvement for Battle Bunker in October.
Strict are they going to be on judging videos of strict press?
I hope not very.
They said you cannot drive any from your lower body.
Yeah. So I hope not much.
Is
That's
that
probably
just like
lower body?
It was probably a little. It wasn't a dip, but it was like a push with my hips.
Rich
forward,
went back a little
potentially.
bit?
Well,
But I
you can
didn't
go
see any
back.
like calf lift off.
Can you do an upper body dip though? As long as
No
your
upper-
legs stay locked.
It was more like I was coming. Like
Can you
that.
though?
I don't know. I don't know.
If you start with a bit of a shrug and get a pop, is that?
No, definitely not. They don't want the bar can't come down.
It didn't say that. It
But
said
that's-
no lower body movement.
If you're just if
Right.
you're starting here,
Not
like,
necessarily there, but like, you know,
I
you
don't-
could get a
I don't know if that's advantageous.
Yeah,
I'll have to go practice.
into out. No.
All right, Battle Bunker is going to be fun to kind of see how it progresses with the scoring. If they're going to start inviting people, they almost opened it for a second week of submission times. I would have not been happy about that because, like what Kirk said, it was a pain in the ass to get that in. You know, I had to really prioritize it to make it happen. So if they're like, "Oh, we're going to extend it," I'd be pissed. Or if they start inviting people, I'm going to be pissed.
I was very surprised when you messaged me and said, I'm about to ensure I don't have a good mile. I'm going to hit this high rocks workout. Wow. You know what? I would have just run the mile first.
I thought
You
about it.
didn't.
I thought about it, but there's a track. I didn't know what track was open. I don't know. I'm just new to this area, so I just figured Saturday. But no, it was really not a priority for me. But I still had to freaking do it. So I'm happy
You got
where I
through.
ended up.
Survive in
Got
advance.
through. That's what we're doing.
There's no prize for taking 15th versus 10th versus 5th. Doesn't matter. Survive
Doesn't
in
matter.
advance.
Doesn't
Just like
matter.
the 3K series for Spartan.
Well-
All you need to do is make it to the next round.
Yes. And yet I was thinking about that this weekend, noodling it a little bit, because they're still not doing top two, big Q, little Q, top two finishers across the line and the next fastest times. You can't dog your prelim. You can't sit and
Not
kick.
really.
You can't just tactically, you can't get ahead and then cruise into the line because it's time based. So it's not survive in advance. It's attack in advance, really. It's weird. I
Yeah.
realize I don't like that part either.
No,
It should be time.
the big Q, little
Because-
Q should be a thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's not. It's like
Every running event has that. Every swimming event has that. Like it's just standard in endurance round events.
right.
Because the purpose of rounds is to remove the people who don't belong there, not to create the best races in each one. Your goal is to arrive to the final as little taxed as possible.
right.
And the drama is created by, can someone tax themselves, slip through, and then tax themselves again?
Yeah.
Not, does the top person have to actually work hard to make sure they're in there and then arrive depleted? It's a weird qualification system.
Like how often you see in the 200, whoever the heavy favorites are, they'll run a hard 140, 150, and they're just jogging in at the end,
Yeah.
just getting across the line, barely enough. They might be seated sixth. Sometimes they want lane 3 or 4 or 5 in the finals. They might make sure that they put a little bit of extra effort there, but like first round, they are just jogging.
And like, yeah. And you want to find the best racers to be in the final, not the best times. It's the same thing. It's like, I mean,
So you're gonna have like 2 or 3 people that can probably go at like 90%, and everyone else who's unknown how they're gonna do and don't know how fast the other heats are going. You just have to run hard.
I have no idea how I'm going to attack this, like effort wise. So I'll figure that out.
People
PK,
have
you
to
in?
get really good at multiple hard efforts, not just decently hard, multiple races in the same day.
You going, BK?
Don't dodge that question.
Yeah, man.
You're in?
You doing the 3K?
Yeah, not all of them.
You doing Palm Beach?
No,
Oh,
Palmerton.
That's
Palmerton,
what we're talking
baby.
about.
No one said the word Palm Beach.
2 weeks.
Palm. There's palm in the word.
Yeah.
We're going. I need to
We're
sign
doing the
up.
Palm series.
I got a notification from Spartan. It's like, this is a limited time. You might not be
I
able
got my
to secure
acceptance
your
while I was in
spot.
Sweden.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It took like 2 weeks for them to decide.
It did. I got the same. Did you tell Lisa right away? What kind of excitement level did
I
you
told
show?
everyone. I went out on the street. I screamed it to the moon.
In Swedish? Did you pick
I
up
got
any
it
Swedish?
tattooed. A
Like
little bit.
Kia.
Fisa is toot and fieta is fart.
Well,
There's a difference. They have different words for how gross and girthy the expulsion of gas is.
So do we.
It's just like America.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Is that what you guys did when you had like Spanish or French? You're just like, all right, I don't need to learn how to say like hi. What's your name? Just go right to the swears. Right? Learn how to say fart or butt, whatever.
Oh,
crude word.
Get out of here. I'm not saying things like butt. Come on, Jack.
What do you think's in a school rated dictionary? They're not putting the. I didn't have Urban Dictionary when I was in 1999.
I did a Swedish sauna. We stayed at a teammate's lake house when we were out there on this frozen lake. Sauna built right on the edge. They can go in and out. We sit in the sauna for 15 minutes, out, roll in the snow, come back in. They do a Swedish sauna shave. If I shave my dome in there, you just shave off the sweat and humidity. No shaving cream. You just go at it. Smooth. I just delve into the culture. Learned the fart words. Did a Swedish shave. I'm a whole new person.
Sounds like an experience that you had.
What was your running experience? So you hit the trails at all? Or I don't know what the terrain in your part of Sweden's like.
We were on the northeast. We were in the northeast. Luleå, Lulea. You can look it up. It's one of the bigger. And
it's an A.
Well, it's pronounced Luleå. It's got a accent thing. It's Luleå. You can see where we are. But East Coast is flat. I did an 11-mile fartlek my last day of running there and gained like 82 feet.
Oh, okay.
But it was mostly running on the lakes.
Yeah.
Snow and ice running all day.
Yeah. I'll do this all day. Let's talk about Savage. I've alluded to talking about Savage since I think minute 3, and here we are at.
We probably should have done that first. But,
well, we did Battle Bunker first. We had 2 things to talk about. We talked about one of them. Let's start on the women's end. Chris Roglaski takes it down. Alex Walker 2nd. Jamie Hornopoulos 3rd. Calypso Sheridan showed up, got 4th. Rachel Waters 5th. So almost the exact same results as the first one.
Yeah, was Calypso in the first one?
She wasn't.
Okay, because I thought Rachel got 4th or just missed. Maybe she was 5th also, and someone else snuck in there.
She was 4th there, I believe, or not? Yes,
in Georgia.
Maybe she was 5th. Yeah, it looks like Sarah Grippy got.
4th. Because she won the Atlanta Spartan like a week before that or something. Chris is on fire right now. I know she had a rough High Rock start to the season, but 2 weeks later bounced back and 2 straight Savage Series races. She's asserting herself once again.
So what do we think about the competition here? Like in terms of depth at the top, depth in the middle, depth in
a lot of middle.
It's a lot of
It's a lot of middle. You have a lot of the Savage faithful. But even then, we're missing some of the Savage faithful.
Where's Chrissy? Where's Nicole? Like
any of the
Miranda?
Miranda.
Is she boycotting this year?
Rachel Corigliano.
Yeah. Any of the Noob Sanity folks. There doesn't seem to be a draw. And maybe this is because they expanded the series. And it's like, listen, I'm not in the Northeast.
Less money.
The money is the same.
Is a little less. It's less on the individual.
I don't think so. They're just not paying out for the
regular
races.
Yeah.
So the money's actually the same or better potentially, but not.
I'm thinking of the individual race.
Dropping, not too much different. Yeah. So maybe it is that they are expanding it, that we're getting these early season races that are, I don't know, semi well attended. How would you call this?
I don't know, but as a tweener, as someone who kind of tried to make a career on being the best of the mids, like that, bridge the gap between the good people and the really good people, they're having consistently an all-world athlete show up. One spot's gone. And then you get an Alex Walker, who's playing that role, that she bridges the gap between the very best in the world and all the rest. She's been top 5 at world championships. She's always a threat to win her podium, everything. She's that. If Chris is an A+, she's an A.
An A, Jack.
So,
I'm not commenting on this.
Did you
these
hear
letters.
what letter?
I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I don't do that anymore.
or whatever you want to call it. If Chris is the top, she's the next rung.
Yes.
So now you got 2 spots gone. And I wonder after last season, some of these women realize Chris runs away with this. Ida comes over, runs away with it. It's chasing the series wasn't the reason I did Savage to start with. And this kind of inevitability of I can't win or take second stops making Savage as fun as what I had prior to this. And Savage was always the fun one for me. So I wonder if we're starting to see that on the female side. Pure speculation.
And then once Nicole starts racing again, because I'm sure she'll probably throw her hat in the ring pretty soon as well. Once
why not?
After Palm Beach goes,
That will be interesting.
it's gonna be
But outside of
I
Nicole, who else? I guess we mentioned some of but most of the people that we mentioned that aren't there are on the other side of the bridge from Chris that Alex is bridging. So there's not really much more at the high end. We saw
Surprised no Annie.
She's not healthy.
Really?
Yeah, she's not healthy enough to
Who's
do
that?
races. Annie Doobie.
Gotcha.
Stemming from what?
It's kind of that same thing.
Really?
Yeah, she's been dealing with some like foot ankle situation for a minute now, so there's no reason to get an early season race in at this point, you know. Casey Monroe showed up to this one though, and she's in that cool Alex Walker sphere, A from an A plus to an A, Jack, but she struggled.
She'd be down 1. She consistently is right in that tier behind Alex at Spartan races.
She'll beat Alex in some of them, but usually she'll be from 5 to 7
5
or 8 or
to
something
8.
like that.
Yeah,
consistently, very good.
She was always gone by like round 6 or 7 of our drafts. So
She's last now. It's a steal. She's been kept, but she didn't finish. She DNF'd this one. And it kind of goes back to the thing that Kirk had mentioned, saying, it's like, I would want to do this, but if I went and did one, I would get my clock cleaned and I have to figure it all out. And then it's kind of a waste of a trip. She lives in Montana. She went to Florida for this to see obstacles she hasn't seen before. She had struggled on the Gibbon take, which is for the Gibbon and Anchors Away combo, which is pretty cool and was a game changer. And then she just had nothing left. So good athlete showing up at these races, and it didn't add to the depth, which is kind of a bummer.
I was thinking about the sport this weekend, watching those results.
a lot of things.
Yeah, I did a lot of thinking. I'm back in the country and my head's cleared after travel. I got a lot
doing
of
a little
thoughts to catch
noodling,
up
as
on.
you said earlier.
I don't know if
You
I
said that earlier.
You said that? Or
when we
like catching catfish?
Today.
No, you said that earlier. Yeah.
Today.
They have
Yeah.
catfish in Sweden?
Oh, they did. They're lucky the rivers are frozen.
And you'd have been noodling up in that.
I think you were referring to like how you would have done in the battle bunker thing. You were like, I was doing a little noodling and here were my marks. But anyway, just
Is that a Swedish term, noodling? Did they like that one there?
I've never said it in my life.
okay.
But it's interesting how you have all these camps come out after these races and say what obstacle racing is, what a true obstacle course is. And the trendy thing right now is to say that it's not a true obstacle course if there aren't enough tricky, hanging, progressing obstacles. But at its core, what obstacle racing came about doing was from military confidence courses. It was about getting yourself up and over and through things, not necessarily suspending yourself by your hands doing funky things. And so even this is an offshoot that the original purists would scoff at. And so to see some people scoff at one type or the other, this weekend really it was humorous to me to watch some of the online comments of, oh, this is why the sport is great, or this is why the sport sucks. Like, this is just a current iteration of the sport, but we're going in this direction where now we're combining different types of hanging things, and it's coming very skill-based rather than very functional fitness of obstacling based. Like, not that a 200-meter over, under, through, or whatever we talked about. Pipe layer.
Yeah.
Is what you want, but that's like functionally fit. You have to be able to move your body through different planes, and it's tiring. Rigs aren't tiring. do you have the grip and the skill or not?
Yeah.
So it was just interesting to me watching Savage continue to, I would say, navigate new waters in US OCR in terms of how they're amplifying the sport of rigs. But rigs are now becoming the new standard, and heavy carries are by the wayside. And watching the heavy carry, watching Kempson and them run with it, I was like, why do we even bother picking
There's
anything
no
up?
use even having it. Yeah.
Right. So it's just the way they're going is cool, but I wonder who sets the decision for what is the gold standard and what an obstacle is these days. And Casey ran into that. She's a great obstacle course racer, and one type of obstacle tripped her up.
One that she wouldn't see in the races where she's generally focused most of her time, where she's been very prepared and one of the best in the world. Really, I think she was top 10 in Abu Dhabi last year, Jack. Check me on that. I think she was 9th.
She was floating right around there.
She did well, better than what
definitely.
the U.S. contingent did the previous year.
But so to see people in comments come and be like, yeah, see, they get to real obstacle racing, this would happen. It's like, well, I don't know if that's fair to anyone to call one thing real obstacle racing, because this is rig racing.
Yeah, it's ninja stuff.
And Spartan is terrain running with heavy carries. And some of the overseas races are obstacles built into nature, built into getting yourself up and over and through taxing arduous things. And others have actual tasks like throwing things. Or it's just weird whenever I see someone take a negative shot at an athlete for saying they came to a real race and this would happen. I just didn't like it. It was distasteful to me this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a shot at Spartan too. Maybe not necessarily specifically Casey.
Via the athlete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she doesn't have anything to prove to the sport.
She didn't have to show up at all. And most of these athletes aren't showing up. And that's what we're just talking about. That the depth is poor probably because of that reason. It's like, look, I'm not prepared. I'm not going to the ninja gym. I don't have one. I don't care to do it. But it doesn't make any less good of an athlete.
Correct. I don't even know what my take is here other than she should be applauded for going. VJ should be applauded for going. He didn't have anything to gain. He got knocked down the OCR rankings by going there, as did she. That should be applauded.
And then on the women's side, other than what we mentioned, Jamie Hornopoulos, 3rd place for her 2nd race in a row.
She's been really close to Alex both times. Like her running, she looks good on the broadcast. Like,
she's legit.
fast.
She moves well. She really does move well.
I always assumed, I've watched coverage in the past and stuff, but I kind of always associated her with like she's just got bulletproof obstacles. She can run. Like it's very impressive.
It's gone up a notch.
Yeah.
How did you do in the series last year, Bracken? You were the guy dialed in, telling everybody what was going on. I tried to find archives. No archives. That's terrible for historians like us. What are we supposed to do?
No archives?
I mean, it's got to be somewhere, but on their site, they basically just took off, like replaced the links from the results last year and just put them for the results this year.
It's too bad. I don't know what her position in the series was, but she is always one of those, if blank's not there, she's one of the next favorites to win it.
She'll win.
So if Chris isn't there, I want to say she has the most, I can't say the most. She has one of the most wins and podiums over the last 2 or 3 years.
She was on like a streak. She won like 7 or 8 in a row. Yeah. So I believe that, but outside, that was with the series passing, and then the competition kind of dropped, but she wins when
she's the real deal.
Totally.
Rich, they have something on their website at the bottom. It says view past results, and it lists every single year before that.
All the races, or the leaderboard from the
the leaderboard. I don't see that. I see the races themselves. Like I could look up. I remember Maryland was in the
series
last year, but
so we'd have to go through and
gotta
do
be
all that.
Something that says the top 10, right?
Probably a Race Brain episode. So we'll have to go back and
I'm gonna look for an Instagram post. How about that?
Oof, that's
might have to go back a while.
Yeah.
Problem is, OCR report has it.
I know, but you can't.
ORM.
You can't search it.
They post a lot of results for like age group top 10 or podium and stuff. So it's gonna take a while.
It's just frequency. That's all Instagram cares about is how frequent are you using this? How is the quality? Don't care.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Frequency of reels. Let's talk about the dudes. We'll try to sort out some of, because it was all in the fall it was all in the spring last year. Okay, let's pull it up. We'll talk about the dudes. The Sean Roberts race. This is the biggest win for Sean Roberts' OCR career?
I'd say so. He's intimidating at this point, I imagine, to everyone else. Like everyone knows that if it's a flat, fast course, he's got the speed. He's shown it before, but this is domination. And I remember, Leon, he's in Colorado right now. And I ran with him on Sunday, and he's like, the way that guy can just take off on flat terrain is just stupid. He's like never seen it before. So Sean's putting it together. It took a couple of years. Like he's had a couple top 5 at OCR World 3K performances. But he's always been right there, but I think he's dialed it up another level this year.
Now, I am going to counter one thing. I wouldn't call this domination. They were on rigs at the same time.
And Kempson's as good as it gets on rigs as well, like moving through it, and Sean is as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying I wouldn't call Kempson dominated there.
Yeah,
he was beaten, but I will agree with you that this is scary for the world, because I think you talk about ceiling in our sport a lot. He has the highest ceiling, in my opinion, of anyone in the sport currently. He has the most room to improve. Kempson's great. How much better can he get? He doesn't necessarily have to get better. He has to not get worse each year. If he just stays in the fitness he can get to, he's always a contender on these types of courses. How much better can Ryan Atkins get? I would say at this point, he can probably only hope to not get slower as he enters his mid-30s, right? He's going to find ways to get better, but in terms of his actual metrics, they're not going to leap ahead anymore in his career. But Ryan would be in the Nick Mast territory where he can just get better.
You mean Sean?
Not Ryan, Sean.
Yeah.
Except Sean's faster.
Mm-hmm.
Sean has that legit
accelerate.
Yeah, those guys. They're in that category. And I'm surprised Hawk wasn't there.
Hawk's not on Sean's list. Jack wants to put Hawk in the elite of the elite, no matter what. Not the same.
Hawk has it because of his up and his downhill.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
He doesn't have the flats. As much
Sean.
as we want to say he's not Hobie. He doesn't have the flats that Hobie did. But he has the uphill that Hobie had. But Sean has the biggest room for improvement in the sport, and his is happening really smoothly. Really smoothly. He's had weird things happen, but he didn't have that Ryan Woods stretch where he went a year of not being able to do obstacles.
Yeah.
He had weird incidents, but he's just smoothly improved constantly.
And he's also in his early 30s, so he's not he still has a few years to put it all together as well.
Yeah.
He's sound on obstacles. I never think he's going to miss. When he goes on, sometimes you see athletes and you're like, oh, I hope they get through this one.
Yeah.
But Sean's not really like that. He's very sound and secure through them. So the concerns that I would bring up with Sean's results this weekend is it going to be course dependent, right? Is he like Alvaro 2.0? Because Alvaro won a race last year. Remember Aaron Newell won a race last year?
Yeah, that was Ohio or something.
It was Georgia. It was the second
was it
race
Georgia? Okay.
Yeah. It was the second race of the series, I believe.
He just obstacled himself back into it and then ran gritty to the finish.
This may have been with the slide. You guys laughed at me about the slide. Slide changed the game.
Slides and walls.
Slides and walls. My whole race.
Sean's an interesting combination, though, because I don't think we've seen someone like him in the sport, because he's a legit athlete. Mm-hmm. He's not just a runner. He's athletic, which we don't see a lot of our...
Kempson is.
Right. But Sean is on that level. And he and Kempson are probably the only two that are built like a runner, but can perform like an athlete. Most of our athletes are a little bit not runnerish. He is every bit as athletic as Kempson, and maybe Kempson would argue he's more athletic. I don't think it matters. They both have more athleticism than you'll ever need for OCR, but he's a D1 runner at the same time. He's a sub 4 miler. He's a sub 150 guy. These are legitimate national class wheels with athleticism behind it. And you add those two, I think it's part of why his obstacle progression was so good, similar to Kempson's. He's a legit athlete. And that adds a component to OCR racing that adds depth to your ceiling that other people won't have. But he's not like, he's unencumbered by a big bulky body at the same time. He doesn't have this large sluggish frame. His feet get off the ground quick.
Now, I know you mentioned Kempson and Sean Roberts being in that athletic bucket, but nope, not really anybody else, but you're putting yourself in that too. Don't lie. You're like, they have
Well,
size
athletic
me.
wise, yeah, but I'm not a runner like they are.
Come on.
He's what, 6 seconds faster than me in an 800? 15 seconds faster in a mile.
And you had a good 800.
You're faster than Kempson in both of those things.
I am, but he's a better terrain runner than I seem to be. He seems to have improved past me on, let's say, a 10K cross country course. I can't touch him. I'm never going to touch Robert. Yeah, he's running 5:05 to 5:20 between every obstacle on that's not me. So, yeah, I think it strengthens my point that I'm probably every bit of the athlete that they are.
Damn right.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
But I can't touch their running, and I don't have the frame that they have. They're both unique combinations, and Sean's is more unique than Kempson's because Sean is a sub 4 miler.
So have we seen like the woman equivalent of that in OCR? Like the freak athletic background? I know that like Natalie Miano played college basketball and Callie played college. Like I know that
not
there's
the
a lot
runners
of
though, not the runners.
sport athletes. Yeah.
That would be a combination of less athletic but higher on the running end. On the women's
combining only other sports that required engine, like Lindsay skiing and biking and her running. Now we haven't seen that dynamic athlete, and it doesn't matter if you can catch and throw and jump, but there are situations where it matters.
Yeah, there are a lot of good runners who are athletic, but not athletes who are also runners. There is a little difference there.
Yeah,
there's hybrid athletes on the female side, like Bridget Brown, I think, is like the best athlete of anybody.
Yeah.
And like Meg's a good athlete too. Like she played hoops and then was just a good runner on the other side. But at the top of the OCR, that's a great question.
Sean and Ryan are the only ones that if you put them in a singlet and split shorts and put them at the start line somewhere, they would look like muscular runners. Right. And if you put them on a basketball court, would look like thin, dynamic athletes. I don't think we have that anywhere else in the sport.
I'd put them in the post, bro. Serious?
That's what Roberts claimed he would do to me. Put me in the post.
I'd put you in the post too.
Didn't he say he's like he's 6'4" or something like that?
He said he's effectively 6'4", 200 in the post.
Oh, that's how I am too. Undersized 3. Yeah.
But anyways, point is,
meet me down.
He should be scary to people because we've never seen his combination in this sport before. Kempson is the closest to his combination in the sport.
Mm-hmm. Without the running, without the highest end of running.
He's the closest. He was the archetype for it. And the Kempson I think Kempson was all state in football as well. He was like a dynamic kick returner and like scat back kind of thing. And walked on, I believe, to D2 college basketball.
He played for like a year.
Yeah.
He played for like a year.
So he has that ability. And I don't know if Sean has that athletic ability, but he has athletic ability. One notch below it maybe, but a full 2 notches ahead running.
To be D3 in basketball, like you're hooping.
Yeah, you're not bad. You're either undersized or under athletic, but that's it.
Right, definitely. So okay, that's a good answer to the question because Alvaro is very course dependent, good enough on obstacles now, especially on the savage side of things. Maybe it's the athleticism piece that he might not have that Sean Roberts has.
We've seen him at Stratton. Yeah, that
had up that first climb. Yeah,
Roberts did
Sean
well.
Yeah.
And he can descend. That we've seen it with Johnny. We've seen it with Kempson. Having some hand-eye and foot-eye coordination, some lateral ability helps descending. He's got it. So yeah, no, I don't think I think Alvaro would have been the fair comparison in his first race. And now I think he's beyond that.
He's past.
It would project that way. But in terms of the results, I don't think it's too much of a difference. I think that's kind of they're in the same line if you're putting a comp together.
Who did Alvaro beat?
He beat Sean
Kempson head to head.
Kempson was not at that race, but Sean was.
Yeah, but that was pre-Sean.
He's ascended. He is now.
That was Sean who never showed up. He was off the screen in the first 30 seconds and never showed back up. They did a carry and went through a bog, and Sean was AWOL.
That's who he beat.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, Sean took it to a world champ here and the reigning series champ. I don't think Alvaro has that resume. You know, the statement wins. He has a win, but
it's a win.
I'm not saying he was facing cupcakes, but he wasn't facing steak either.
Aaron has that win, so he's on the same level as Aaron Newell.
Yeah, because when Aaron's at his best,
Aaron's nasty.
Any course, any person, anytime.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We just haven't seen him.
I haven't thought about him for a minute. Is there any word on him? Is he going to show up to these things? Is he running?
I don't know.
What's he doing?
There was a time when you didn't want, he was on your list of people you didn't want to see at the start line because you knew you're in for a long day with that guy.
Yeah.
Alvaro's kind of like, he's going to outrun me today or he's not.
It's like, it depends on the
he's
course.
on one or he's not.
Yeah. It's like, this is a flat course.
Where Aaron, you didn't want him anywhere.
Alvaro has a national record in the steeple, I believe.
Oh.
Jack,
Nicaragua, I think he was like
but it's like 908 or something like that.
Still not slow.
That's for a national record.
He
slow
ran,
for a record.
He ran literally at the World Track and Field Championships.
That's wild.
Yeah, right.
And he was in the same heat as some guys who were running like 330 or 331 in the 1500.
Yeah.
And he had like a 350 PR or something, which is still good. It's like a low 4 miler, but
this is like me being in
you shouldn't be be in it. Yeah.
Like
if you take away the title,
right.
908 will get you to nationals and win it some years in D3.
Yes.
350 will get you to nationals and win it some years in D3. Like he's a Kirk runner. He's a Rich runner. He's like, in terms of his running accolades, he's every bit as fast as the normal fast people in the sport.
It's a cool thing to have on your resume. If I was Nicaraguan, I would have that record.
That'd be on your profile.
It'd be in my profile, my IG profile.
Yeah. So I've got it pulled up. His PR 155, 800, 354, 1500. That's what he has there.
Is Alvaro?
Yeah. Okay, so he participated in the 2009 Berlin IAAF World Championships. So
that's wild. He's got the singlet. He wore his national colors.
That's
he got
sick.
12th in Heat 3. So he did not make the next round. 350. He ran 355.06.
Oh, he ran the 1500 there.
Should have ran steeple. What's he doing?
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know. You could probably get trounced with a 908 at a.
Yeah.
Steeplechase
904.
Hope you're getting a sit and kick.
At least the 15's over quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. He ran 904 for the steeplechase. So.
All right. So if you wanted to beat Alvaro in a Savage race, where would you go?
Anywhere but Gainesville or South
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to beat Sean, where do you take him?
Anywhere.
Same.
Ohio.
Spartan race.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't ascend very well.
Didn't he win Ohio or take second?
What did he do?
Woods DNF'd, right? Or something.
He got second.
No, won Ohio. Took second. That was his coming out party.
But he was ahead of Atkins and Woods, like
that's the year before,
point, if I'm not mistaken. Oh,
which I believe is his second race ever. That's the race he learned to run downhill in.
Yeah, and he looked good on the broadcast. I remember, like, okay, this guy.
Yeah, maybe Palmerton is where you take him.
Take him to Palmerton, or maybe you take him to like something with no firm ground, only rocks and muck and water. Like you got to reach for something. So again, my point is, he's beyond the one trick pony card. That's not him.
Okay. Yeah, it's so interesting because I have a different experience in him as a runner. Ascending for me is not the problem. It's descending. He seems to be able to descend, but he doesn't ascend well, which I think is so interesting for such a good runner.
I wonder if it's scary. I wonder if it's like the most unknown feeling to him and unsure yet of what causes me to blow up. So I know I can descend. I know I can run fast. I know I can obstacle. I'm going to chill a little bit here.
Why am I going slow? I must be dying if I'm going slow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was scary for me the first time in the mountains. Like, I don't know this feeling in my quads. I don't know what this means, but I don't think it's good.
It's like, I'm not walking. I'm not going to do it. Do you want to talk about VJ at all? We talked about it for a second.
Sure. Let me just add on Sean. I did talk with him after, and he is not doing the 3K series, unfortunately.
That dude, he's a man. He's just sticking to his
I
guns,
was
man. He's
like,
like, you know what I think about Spartan? How about this? Well, how do you say the word toot in Sweden?
Bisa.
Pizza. That's what I think about Spartan race. So that good for him. I mean, he would do so well, and it's in the south. It's in the southeast to start. He might as well just pop in.
That's what I'm like. Hey, man, you just took down two of the biggest threats that you'll see there. Like, give it a shot. Atkins won't be there. Some of the others that
said double Atkins is not going.
No,
sure?
he posted his next race is like 100-mile ultra or something. So
Scared.
So Sean, we talked about the 3K is not going to be a speed race, no matter everyone wants to say it is. After the first lap, everyone's going to be running tempo pace. That's what these races are reduced down to. You're running 5K gasping at marathon pace, basically. That's what this is going to be for the last 15 minutes of this race. But the one thing that does matter speed-wise is how quickly you can get up. And Sean is one of those, he's up to speed by just breathing. He just has that type of stride, that effort, like Hobie had that effortless acceleration where you touch the ground and you're up to speed. Like Kempson works, he gets up to speed well, but you can see him, like he leans and he pulls and he churns. Sean just like twitches. That's the type of thing that gets you seconds in and out of everything in a 3K. And that's a weapon, and he's not going to bring that. That's tough to hear as a fan of it.
Yeah, I know. But as a competitor, BK, you're like, all right, cool. No problem.
That's right. We didn't want you here.
Don't want to see you.
Bracken's not going to be there either, though. Maybe I'll tell him that Bracken won't be there. That'll change his mind.
At Palmerton.
Yeah. Doesn't have a very specific plan this year, and showing up out of shape and fat and doing poorly at one does not help my stock.
That's not part of the plan.
No, that's not part of the plan. I was on track for it. I had a knee setback. I'm over it. It seems to be good, but I'm not rushing the process.
Hey,
when you're trying to build up a resume, a bad result doesn't help you.
Got to move up that top all-time OCR performers list.
He likes 16. That's where Bracken likes hanging.
That's right. I'm the Joe Montana of the sport. That's basically what that's telling me.
That's exactly.
Who's the best number 15 quarterback of all time?
Yeah.
Tim Tebow?
No. That's
I hope
not.
True. I hope that's not the case.
Well, I mean, I submit Tim Tebow beat it.
I would have to do an internet search for that.
Yeah, the only number that matters is 12. So let's go with that.
Goodness gracious. All right. So yeah, in terms of VJ, just a rust buster. I don't think there's too much really for it. Like you mentioned, Bracken put himself out there kind of at the last second too. It wasn't a thing that was really on his calendar. So
tough travel day. Also, he left at like 2 a.m. to get to the airport. Not that that's, I'm making the excuse for him. He didn't say that, but I know he had a super.
That makes you better. The Batress, call that.
That's true. No
BJ's
sleep.
Reached an interesting point in his career, and I feel for him. He went from, we're talking like 2019 VJ, where he's showing up, having trained specifically for every event. 2018 VJ, every event he was going to do, he was trained specifically for, and he showed up the most prepared and the most fit for that type of thing. And people were having a hard time touching him at anything. And then he started branching out and doing beasts, and he's doing his altitude thing, and he's got to train a little bit differently. And he still ended up winning world titles, but he had a few hiccups along the way, but he still won world titles. And now he's in I'm bored. The sport's changed. I'm a little lacking motivation. I kind of want to try some other things. He's changed his body for the first time in a while. His training's a little bit different, and the sport's still full of killers. And he's starting to show up not the most prepared to things anymore. And he's never really felt that other than his first few years in the sport. Like he was the most prepped for any single course. And that was what Atkins would kind of like snidely say in some of those interviews. Well, yeah, I suppose if someone wants to train just for one race, that's cool, but I'd rather do them all.
Right.
Like, BJ's not doing that anymore. And he's feeling different things. And he's still the best if he's ready to be the best. But like he feels good in some workouts, and he posts videos of running 450 pace and then 420 and then 356, and he looks like a world beater again, but the underlying work's not there the way it was in previous seasons. but he knows he can get back and win the world title at the end of the year. And it's like, so what? I know I can still do it off whatever I do in the first half of the year. So I'm trying other things, but it's a tough spot to be in. I feel for the guy.
If he doesn't win, it's a disappointment in people's eyes. Cause
Right.
like he's got all those titles and it's like, early season race, he's not ready right now.
He just never had those before. He never
I know.
had early season race. He came out and beat the champs anytime he showed up. And now it's like, what's the point? What's the point of dedicating my life to something where I don't care about it anymore? They're not putting up the money they used to. There's some other cool things. My buddies are all doing these things. Maybe I'll try it. And then if I show up and take third or fourth, it's like, oh, that was a huge disappointment. And now I kind of feel bad about myself, but I don't want to train all out for it because I'll still win worlds at the end of the year. It's tough. That is a tough mind place to be in.
Especially with the sport being in this place of influx. This seems like it's, kind of a crossroads for a year, right? Like what is this going to be? Like, do you still commit to being the best obstacle racer in the world if next year maybe it's completely gone? Maybe it's even worse than it is this year. Does it just get worse and worse from here on out? As a young athlete, like trying to pick and project yourself out, like what's your legacy going to be? What do you want to spend all your time? What do you want to do? And if it's going to be gone, like how, like it's not the same as someone who's like, oh, I want to be in the NBA. It'll always be there. This is like the money's, like you mentioned, the money's going away and the sports change directions. Like in his early prime, like he's not even really in his prime years yet.
No.
27, 28. He's got a few to go.
And what do the greatest people generally do is they race after the accolades. It stops being about money. It stops being about sponsorship. They're racing after the things that matter the most to the most people. That's the thing you want to win. I'm going to win it. This is the thing the media cares about. I'm going to be the best at it. And so he spent his whole career becoming the best at the thing he was the best at, and then starting to move up to eventually become the Spartan Race World Championship at the beast distance in the mountains. Mm-hmm. That was what he was going to do because he knew he could be the best here, but people expected the best would also win this. And so that was that. I mean, that for an alpha type mentality like him, that is what you go towards. To be the undisputed greatest of all time, you have to be that person. And then they moved it to Abu Dhabi. It's like, well, yeah, that he was really excited that first year to go do it over there. And then by the second year, it's like, am I that excited or not? I don't know. And the sports world stopped caring about Abu Dhabi as much and putting asterisks next to it. And so now, do I go after that or not? And now they've moved it down to the 3K, which originally was the thing he was best at. Right. And now they've taken this holy grail and 3/4 of the sport are saying, I don't care about it anymore. And the media is saying this is kind of a joke. And it's like, what is he supposed to chase? He was chasing everyone's expectations of what the best does. And now no one knows what the best does. And the thing that the best should do isn't being lauded as the epitome of the sport anymore. So like, what would Michael Jordan do if suddenly they're like, we might play 2-ball this year and no one's really excited about it? Like, is he the obsessive person after, playing 2-ball? Maybe, maybe not, but that's where VJ is.
2-ball with pickleball. That's also that's like kind of the same deal, right? Like if you want to put yourself in the position to be very specific. Yeah. And then if VJ did that, he would absolutely be the best, even if that, whatever that is, a completely different thing. But now it's so uncertain. Yeah. How do you prepare for something?
What would we name is the race you have to win to be the best in the sport right now?
This year?
Yeah. To be if you wanted to be the GOAT, what do you have to win for the next 4 straight years to prove that you're the GOAT right now? We would always say Spartan Race World Championships or OCR Worlds. But Spartan would be number 1. And now Spartan Race World Championships, let's say someone like, let's use me as a bad example. If I come back and win the world championship this year, that does nothing to help the sport's legacy. No one would look at me and say, this is the best obstacle racer in the world. If Jack came out this year and won it, no one would say Jack's the best obstacle racer in the world. They would say, they chose a race that suited these guys, and it proves that this isn't the best test if Bracken and Jack can win it. It wouldn't help anyone. Now, if Atkins won it, they'd be like, this proves he's the GOAT. But if VJ wins it, it's like, well, yeah, he's still good at what he was good at.
Right.
And he's in a really shitty situation.
I see a lot of similarities with Sydney McLaughlin right now, where she just came in young, dominated the sport, setting all the records, winning Olympic titles. And now a lot of people are like, oh, well, do the open 400, try
Mhm.
that. She stepped in a 60 meters indoor. It's like, I don't know if she's just getting bored with that or she just wants to just keep adding to her resume, but she was like the young phenom, and VJ is in the same exact situation right now. So it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah,
It really is.
good comp. I'm trying to see her doing 800.
And
That's what I'm
that's
trying
what
to
we
see.
all, did anyone say this
Yeah.
to Edwin Moses?
No.
Like
Right.
win every race for 8 years. You're the best ever. That's great.
Yeah.
And we laud it. And now with these people are like, well, what else can you do?
Right.
I
been
feel
3
bad for
years.
people who are in these situations where their sport demands change of them. And VJ's like, listen, all you asked out of me was, can he race over 90 minutes? First, it was an hour. I proved that. Then it was 90 minutes. I proved that. Now it's, well, he can't win a mountain beast. It's like, well, I've been working up towards this. I moved to Colorado and now you changed the sport to the desert and now a 3K. Like I was doing what you asked of me to be the best ever, and now you've changed the goalposts, and that doesn't excite me. I could have stayed in California and trained for the 3K.
Athletes like Atkins kind of ruined our perspective of what greatness is, right? Like I think it is being specialized and being as prepared as possible for something. But in this sport where maybe the depth at the top wasn't at the time when we started to follow it that deep, that the same athletes could win the sprint and could win the beast, so when there's athletes like everybody else who need to specialize, it's not as impressive.
Yeah. Why didn't you receive votes for greatest hybrid athlete last year?
I did. Did I not?
I mean, like serious votes. Why weren't you the hybrid athlete of the year for the men?
Because I didn't win High Rocks.
Yeah. Why does that matter more than DECA? You beat Kent at DECA. Like why did it not matter? Where was Hunter? Because we have these weird rankings
right.
of longer events matter more in our sport, even at something that's not even our sport, like hybrid.
Mhm.
We bastardize that. It's got to be longer and harder. Grindy is tougher.
That does seem like it's more the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Do you
And
think-
so
Yeah.
I feel for people like you, like VJ, who your wheelhouse, rather than being fully celebrated, is kind of explained away.
Do you think it just takes like certified world beaters to be in that race like a good amount, and then we can give it a little bit more legitimacy? Like, do you need every single person to do the 3K in order for VJ to win? If he won the 3K world champs, but everybody else showed up, do people still put an asterisk on it because it's a 3K?
Yeah,
even though the same exact competition was there.
I think that's what Bracken was saying before. They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Like if he does anything but not win, if he wins, it's gonna be like, of course he won. If he doesn't win, people are gonna be asking questions.
Yeah, that's what
If Atkins wins, he's the GOAT. If VJ wins, of course, he's the best at this thing. Of course he won. If Kempson wins, like he's got the dog in him. We knew he was a stud, but just like the OCR world, he pulled the upset here. He took these guys down. Like that's the narrative. The narrative changes by who wins. Whereas Spartan World Championships, Killian comes in and they're not like, well, this is the perfect course for him. They're like, this is the perfect course, and he is the best OCR racer in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens there. Cody Moat wins it. It's not, could he do this anywhere else? It's, he's won 2 different Mountain World Championships. It proves he's the GOAT. Well, they're both Mountain World Championships. It's just, if you win the big one, no one explains away your success. If you win any other one of the championships, including OCR Worlds, it seems we've done, people will explain away your success. Tyler Veermans, they'll explain it away. He was fresh. He was training for an ultra. He was just super fit for this. It balanced out his weaknesses. We didn't analyze Atkins' training heading into anything else. Why are we analyzing Veermans? It's just, it's sub ultra distance. And so no one cares.
Is it like voter fatigue in pro sports where you're like, oh, of course they're going to win MVP again. And then you're just like so sick of it happening 4 years in a row. It's like, oh, I just want someone new to do it. And then we can also trash on the person who didn't win it.
Or you just realize how much of a defensive impact Embiid has over Jokic. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That dude can't guard anybody. Most valuable.
That's where I was going with this. Yeah.
I don't follow either argument in terms of our sport. I think they're both valid concerns for the NBA, but no, I think this is we have the opposite of voter fatigue. We only want the same courses. We only want big mountain altitude courses because the scale is huge, and anything other than that, we don't want new because it's not finding the same type of athlete we were testing there. And that's seen as the ultimate test.
We
It's
want,
reverse voter fatigue.
we want them for what the athletes run, but we don't want to watch them. It's a weird double standard. We're always complaining about how slow people are going uphill and stuff. And during these races, it's 2.5 hours for the coverage, but that's the way to legitimize your championship by having those. So I think it's a double standard.
I think we all love it, but we say that doesn't sell to the outside the way they're currently selling it. But yeah, I don't know. I find myself being very melancholy today. I'm feeling for these people. They're in a weird spot. Everything they worked for the last decade to half decade, depending on the athlete, has changed, and they haven't been given a very clear, so here's what we expect out of you now. It's we're doing something totally new, and it's going to be great, but we also don't know if we're doing it next year or what it's going to look like.
Another reason, Jack, to your question, I think, is like that most of the fans of this sport also can experience it, right? So they know how hard a beast is.
Yeah, that's true.
Where this 3K, that'll be interesting for that, because not everyone's going to be able to experience this, and it's not going to look that impressive, as we've talked. So and maybe that's why people like it, because they like the beast distance the best. Like, how many people would, in like the OCR age group contingent or the open contingent, are that excited of a sprint over a beast? You know,
who is going to travel to Abu Dhabi for a sprint championship?
Right. Like, who even would go to, like, what's the best sprint course in the
Washougal? Nah,
Washougal.
it's gone. And that's the point, right? It's gone.
But they also have a beast.
Let's look at the pure running world. Are there any like less prestigious, like if you won a gold medal in any distance, it's still a gold medal, but do people ever go like, oh, it was only the steeplechase, it wasn't the 100
I think steeple is the best example. The 5K, like, 10K guys look down on steeplers.
It's the reject event.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so weird how that exists in sports. It's like it's a world title. Like, if
but no one's
wanted
demanding
to beat you in it, they could have done it.
No one's demanding the steeplers justify themselves by trying to win the 1500 or the 5K at the next Olympics.
But it's implied, like, people are like, oh, it's the steeplechase.
They're implied they're cast-offs, but they're not expecting them to branch out. They're still saying they're incredible at what they do.
Or the 400 hurdles. It's the guys who, or the girls who weren't fast enough for the 400, 800, we believe. And then a lot of them just haven't tried those events, but it's like, you're not fast enough to do the regular 100 or 110 hurdles either. So it's a weird mix.
So let's play what if VJ just commits to the 3K this year and says, I'm just going to train every day for the rest of this year, for the next 35 weeks, to win the 3K definitively in Abu Dhabi, to be the greatest of all time in this moment, in this sport. Two things are going to happen. The first is that he's probably not going to enjoy his training life a whole lot, because you can't really be great at any other form of our sport, any other form of it, training solely for a 3K. Training for the super distance, you can go up or down. Training for the beast distance, you can go up or down. Even training for like Deca. Maybe Deca is a bad example, but like high rocks, you could probably still run a good beast or super. You wouldn't be great at it, but you'd be transitionable. Training just for the 3K is going to be probably the most limiting style of racing you could train for in this sport in order to want to do others. And all his buddies and everyone else is doing all these others. So he would have to go tunnel vision the whole year to do something that maybe might not impress people. And there's a real good chance next year it's not there anymore.
Right.
The World Championship could be a beast next year, and now he just eroded his base for 35 weeks. So like, what is the risk reward for someone like him to go in on it?
It's tough.
If there's a transition, like Deca, I think is the place that the 3K format could translate in terms of training.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right. So like, and then from Deca, it takes some time to get up into high rocks. Like, say it does just dissolve, right? And just like, okay, RCR, whatever. The hybrids it. I enjoy it, whatever. Like, that could be a potential path.
Deca mile, maybe even more than Deca fit, in terms of
3K?
how much you're running in between. But yeah,
True.
Both.
Nasty. Yep.
So I don't know, like if Jack or I wanted to, let's say, or you, Rich, you already have a world title to defend. If Jack or I decided we're going to dedicate our lives to the 3K this year, that's fine.
Doing.
That's totally fine. And at the end of it, if they go back to a beast next year, okay, we're back to to not being relevant at the World Championship.
True,
again.
true.
Right? Jack and I, were we going to be on the favorites list for the Abu Dhabi Beast this year?
Depends
not,
on the
no.
season. I don't
But
know.
Maybe in a
Can't
we
rule
could do
it
a
out.
relay. Just,
But could we make it to the finals in the 3K this year? Maybe.
Definitely.
And if we dedicate our lives to it, cool. He maybe upset some people. But if VJ dedicates his life to it, he's not going to enjoy his life. If Atkins dedicates his life to it, he wouldn't.
He might hate his life. Yeah.
So it's just they're in a weird position right now. The goats of our current sport are in a weird position. Outside of Nicole, I think Nicole's the only person who could be considered one of the goats right now, who's in a fantastic position where she doesn't have to build up 3 hours of mountain descending. She can just work on her structural running and her turnover and her efficiency and get back and maybe win a world championship at 80% fitness in her rehab.
Isn't it weird that Nicole, she's meant for the 3K? Realistically, you look at her pure skill set. She's won at Tahoe before, obviously, fantastic race, but like she leans towards the shorter, faster stuff.
Yeah.
And she'll get kind of the free pass, like, oh, of course, you know, she should have won this. She's the best. And like it's a different treatment than VJ will get, I think, if he does well. Or I think Kempston has a very good shot of winning 3K as well, but like we're giving VJ the favorite status.
I think Rylan has a good chance.
Yeah,
Veerman has a good chance.
But I'm just saying, like, Nicole's, the perception of her in this course isn't the same as like, oh well, VJ's just doing it because he's good at it. It's like Nicole's the best, that's why she's gonna do it. It's just a different narrative, I
So
guess.
who would the public be happiest for, men and women, for winning the 3K this year? Who do you think would get the biggest response out of the public if they won? The biggest positive response?
Well, I think coming back from a torn ACL, Nicole, that's like,
I think
you
so
can root
too.
for that.
I think the women's side, it's easy.
Yeah. But then it's like, but
Maybe
Lindsay's
Rose.
probably not going to be there as much, or if at all. But it still probably won't matter, which is weird because it's like, oh, well, VJ won without so-and-so and so-and-so. Like, you put the asterisk, even though he's already the best at it.
Yeah.
Two separate 3K world championships. Yet Nicole, she can do it even if Emma doesn't race, or Lindsay, I have no idea what'll happen. She gets the pass.
So what male gets the most positive
Kempston.
response from the public for winning it?
I think Atkins. People are going to be like, this dude's just great. We're seeing greatness here. He's the best of the longest. He's the best of the short. That's what we want to say. That's what I think.
I'd want to see
Atkins or
Hunter try it, because I think that
Hunter?
that would help his narrative.
Atkins or
He'd
Hunter?
never hit. Yeah.
You know who I think should? I think this is the last possible chance. I think Hobie Call should go after it. He can build up 20 minutes of fitness. He is the greatest mover I've ever watched on an OCR course. And this is all going to be about moving in and out of things. He can accelerate up. His mod is outrageous. This is his last chance.
I'll text Hawk. I'll ask him if his dad's thinking of it.
He's got that would make, those are my three, but it's weird that outside of Atkins, like, we didn't say any of the best guys.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's very weird.
I don't like
If you move that to Tahoe, move it back, who elicits a super positive response from the crowd if they win it?
If VJ wins that, he gets the
VJ.
best response.
Atkins, he's never done it.
At Tahoe,
Albin,
specifically,
he's back.
yeah.
Johnny Luna Lima would be a fantastic story. Rylan,
Veerman,
he's
this
now,
one, yeah.
or Veerman, they've now become the new Atkins. Like, there's a ton of stories there. None of those pop up for the 3K.
We're going to have to rank the best championship at the end of it. That'll be part of the Okras this year. Because, yeah, like you mentioned, last year, it's like, that's the championship, Abu Dhabi. Now it's like, we'll see how it plays out.
The year they moved to Abu Dhabi was the first year there's a crack in the foundation. Any question mark about what's the most important OCR race of the season for Legacy? It's the first year they added anything into it, and they've done nothing but erode it ever since.
I think we need to see how the 3K goes first.
Oh, for sure.
You might see people hop in. Maybe they're not doing the series, but you might see people like, hey, at $20,000 Abu Dhabi, like, it's pretty
Closer
good
we
money.
get.
Yeah.
Good payday.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Great. Quick wrap up of the Savage series. Shout outs to Leon coming over. Seems like he's coming around in
Podium.
good shape. getting on that podium
Yes.
on a really stout field, beating VJ no matter where he is in the season is going to be a good accomplishment. Shout
He'll
out
be
to
in
Joe.
Palm Beach.
Leon will?
Mhm.
Nice. That could be good if like with the crawls and such, depending on what they give us for.
Just
So it sounds like there's not going to be double carries always.
from Steve, it sounded like not there.
Just whatever's going to be at
Yeah.
the finisher area is what they're going to
I
have.
just hope it's not a 3-minute barbed wire crawl and 4 minutes of the rest of the race. Like,
Yeah, that'd be shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Shout out to Joe Cotto for the Savage Series. Dude's bringing it. Currently in third, got fifth at both races, and he's like racing. Both times on the live stream, people are like, who is that guy?
yeah, always misidentified.
Always misidentified, but he was up there with Riker in the previous one. We saw him like not backing down from Leon in this one. Like he's out there. He's trying to
Yep.
beat people. So good on him. I
Yep.
think that's all I got.
That's all I
All you
got.
need.
That's all we need. That's all we need. What else? What else? What do we got to plug on Running Public? What do you guys got going? You're back in action?
Back in action. Regularly scheduled programming will resume for the first time in a month.
Wow.
Kirk
You-
held the fort down when I was gone.
Sure did.
Bracken, are you able to look at downloads?
Yeah.
For that? Who did better, Rich or Fred Clary?
Oh, I like that. You fill some space. I'll give it to you in
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Because I mean, realistically, that
Our
they're
Rich
recurring.
one-
They're recurring
one.
guests. They're both, people want to listen to it, and it's like Rich was your choice. Fred, Kirk's. We'll see who
I
has
see.
more pull.
It's also been out
I think
longer. That matters.
No. We're not using that.
Well, mine's been out longer, I'm saying.
I know that. I'm trying to,
Yeah,
lean
I
on
guess
his
not
so.
favor
even
right now.
close.
Not even close.
No. Not even close.
For who?
In
You wanna
Rich's favor.
Yes, Fred is.
People don't
Oof.
care about 110%. They care about triple
Fred's
threshold.
1,000 behind him right now.
Are you serious? That's like a third of the entire population of people that actually listen to podcasts in OCR. That's a landslide. Dude, I was looking at mine today. Magita has the chance to have the top 3 episode downloads on Reinforced Running.
Really?
He has the top 2 right now.
His mom, his dad, Kate.
Just over and over. He's just,
baby, yeah,
he runs
just-
he runs it in the morning
Yeah.
on
He has a
loop,
loop.
over and over. Just
He
keep
has
the
Has
volume
he
all the way up.
ratcheted? Has he ratcheted his whole everything up since his North American win? I
I don't think so.
feel like every
I feel like
interaction
he
I've
has.
seen with him or had with him has been like turned to 10 since Chicago.
Yeah.
Turn at 10.
He's already
He's
at
typically
10 in
at,
most
yeah.
things, though.
He was at like an 8.5, 9 on a daily
No, he was
basis,
at a 10
and now
before.
he's spitting hot fire everywhere he is. He's
He's
not
at
holding
11.
back on anything.
11 out of 10. He's the
Yeah, he's
champ.
got his crown, and you better come for it. And he's going to let you know the whole time.
I would like to see Magita give the 3K a shot, but I think he's so in hybrid that he probably won't. But it'd be
You
dirty.
could see it. You could see it. I'm surprised he didn't do Battle Bunker as well.
Yeah.
That would have been a couple of good workouts for him.
Yeah.
Is he strong?
Yes.
I feel like he's strong.
Well,
he
he was
pulled-
like football strong back in the day.
He pulled 475 in a deadlift at OCR Stars
Oh wow.
with almost no progression, just like loaded it up, pulled it.
Overhead press is probably the worst thing for him to do with his lower back issues he's been having. So I wonder if that was part of it.
Potentially. I
if you-
think he's had shoulder issues as well. But still.
He was a swimmer, right?
No,
maybe.
he played
was-
football in
I
college.
thought he was a high school swimmer.
He was a
I
runner.
thought he was all conference.
Oh, okay.
Swimming? As good as Kent?
He's like the Ryan Kent
Is he as good as Kent?
of swimming.
Let's not give him that status right there.
That's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
We're gonna have an okra for best swimmer.
Best swimmer.
Best
We've
OCR
got like
swimmer.
Vivian.
And Ryan Kent is
Kent
gonna be
right
the
there.
the figurine that we had.
Yeah.
A chiseled
drowning in the
bronze
water.
Ryan
But yeah.
Kent.
The important takeaway here is Rich is a landslide right now. 1,000 more.
I think you made the right choice. That's what it comes down to.
I'm,
You know
I
who
bet
wasn't asked on his?
Hmm?
We keep asking Rich on. No one's asking. It's not happening the other way, Jack.
I'm aware.
me asking
Yeah.
you.
I know there are favorites.
Yeah,
I don't get asked to go on.
yeah. Jack and I aren't being asked on yours.
I'm solo these days.
I'm
I have
not
no
asked
guests.
to go on
Zero
Kirk
guests.
and Bracken's. Yeah,
You've been on ours.
I know. So back in the early day, I was a bad interviewee, but I can listen a lot better than I used to.
Are you saying you're ready to be put back in the game?
Look, if you make the calls and there are like 11 people who say no and you need someone and it's like, after 4 p.m., I got you. If it's early morning.
2 no's, we do a Q&A. We're not making it down.
Gotcha.
You do 2 no's before a Q&A? I'm taking the under.
I don't know if we do any no's.
Rich just blacklists people right away. He's like, "You're dead to me." All right,
done. I'd rather have no guests. I'm just talking. Jack, what would you bring? What kind of gas you bring into as a guest? Like, we need
Comedy.
Different.
Yeah, comedy hour. Yeah, you want downloads right there. Yeah.
That's true. It'd be spiked up. There'd be like Barstool and Running Public would be right under. But like, you need some new stats, dude. You need.
I do a poop story episode. That would be a fun. We should just do that one time. That'll be an entertaining one. That might have the most downloads or the least.
We asked for. I told 2 or 3 poop stories on one, and I said we might have to have one. But tell me some of your worst running stories, and I'm thinking it was going to be about that. We had some people write in about running soon after giving birth or running while being a breastfeeding mom. We had some type of bodily issues that Kirk and I hadn't personally experienced ourselves that trump any sort of like run shark you might have.
Like, sound like tame.
Sound like babies. Yeah.
Pre and post birth running, it does nothing on having Taco Bell before an interval session.
Good way to end it.
Be careful how you open up the door for horrific running stories because the moms take the cake.
I wasn't talking to, I
thought that's what I had envisioned too, but
we're gonna limit the scope. Only that.
Could be more explicit with the direction from the peeps.
What do you got this week, Rich?
I actually did have a guess. It was Meg Jacoby. We had a 2-parter where we just talked about the first 3 stations and the last 5 stations of High Rocks. So we just covered the back half and how how she approaches, how I approach it. And that's it.
Nice.
All right.
You got anything for us, Jack?
I'm just doing research for the draft next week. That's all that I care about. Single focus, get my title back. Got to be the first 2-time champ.
We might need to think of some wrinkles. Do we need wrinkles? Do we need new stuff? Or do we not?
We have to think about that.
We got a
week.
Tune in there
next week. You'll see if we made
planting the seeds. Yeah, but if I don't mention it now, I'll mention it tomorrow, and I'll mention it next week, and you guys haven't thought about it. I'm just planting the seeds for you guys.
I think it's stuff.
Yeah, let's all come up with some projected rule changes, and we'll vote on them.
Rich, if you had to rank like me, Bracken, and Kirk in terms of who's the most active when you post something and like, hey, any ideas? Like, who's the best and the worst out of the group? I would say Kirk's usually the most silent.
I wouldn't say anyone's the
best
best.
ideas.
I would not say anyone's
I know
the
that.
best.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're a 10 out of 10. I'm saying like a 4 out of 10 is the best.
There is no best. Wouldn't call it the best.
Least worst.
I'm gonna have the best gifts that I'm sending back at you.
My phone won't let me send them. It's very frustrating.
BK, you're not Apple either, right? You guys are both.
I have Google Pixel. It should work fine. Pixel.
You guys,
you do?
Mine's not all gooped up with sunscreen or whatever, though.
I clean that thing off. There are some smears on the back, but yeah, with the sunscreen.
All right, we'll think of some rules, and we will draft next week. Very excited.
Yeah,
very excited. I'm gonna go enjoy this beautiful day here. How are we doing in Milwaukee?
Hot today. 73 right now. I went for a run yesterday at like 5 p.m. and about lost my life.
Is it humid?
I was overheating, hyperventilating. It was one of those runs I felt so bad. The only option was to pick it up. You ever have those?
You just got to get it done.
You're striving. You're so
gotta get home.
sluggish.
Got to get
You
home.
just got to start running a cut down.
That's not great. Oh, Brian, I don't think I told you.
You want to hear some nasty splits?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's extend it. Yeah.
You want to know how sick my fitness is right now? Yeah. I went out and started. This is on grass and gravel. I started running what I thought was easy pace. First mile, 8:34.
That's easy.
29 feet of elevation loss.
Loss.
Cruising.
8:21. 7:51. Cut down started.
That's the cut down.
7:25.
What did your heart rate do? 20 beats higher there?
No heart rate monitored.
Oh, okay. Because
too hot for
that. Good smart move.
7:51. 7:25. 7:01. 6:20. 6:14.
Ooh, you really cut it down.
In the heat? Yeah.
That's like an effort. You don't just naturally.
There's a guy behind me on the trail for those last two.
Trying to
get
catch
in front of you.
He was probably running 6:25 pace, and I was running that 7:01, and I realized the cut down's not happening quick enough. I'm getting
Yeah.
caught.
Got a big time. Got to skip
And
a
then
couple of the cut downs.
A guy went out and back on me running some sort of workout, but it was a tempo run, not an interval session. And he was probably running 5:0 the whole time.
Jeez, got some studs in the neighborhood.
Jeez.
Yeah, we got a couple marathoners here who are like 2 high teen guys. So, anyways, 8:34, easy pace downhill. Come at me, 3K.
All right, squad. I saw the Bucks play. BK. They came to town.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I meant to comment on it, and I think I was Kent's story instead of yours.
it was Kent's story. Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
But we got the NBA playoffs that we can talk about next week too. How about
I'm
that?
seeing the Avalanche.
We're gonna
today.
end up meeting each other.
You think in the finals, conference finals?
Oh yeah, conference. I think we could.
Got to go through me. I think we have the 3
know.
best teams collectively right here.
I hate that the freaking Celtics are on our side, on the Sixers side. It's just.
I think we have the 4 best teams.
You think? Wait.
I
who's
think
the
any 4. Honestly, I think Denver's going to crap out, but I think Bucks, Celtics, or Sixers could all win it.
for sure.
Phoenix. I think Phoenix is going to win in the
Phoenix
West.
is the best.
I hope they don't even make it. I'm rooting so hard against Phoenix. I
Yeah.
don't know.
What do you do against them in the second half of a playoff game? They have 3 guys that can go ISO unguardable. What do you
Yeah.
do?
You just hope they get hurt and they don't know how to play with each other. So
And 2 of the 3 can lock down defend. What do you do?
Yeah, they're gonna get hurt.
Durant just had the first ever 55-40-90 season.
He played like
thought Steve
40.
Nash
He
did
played
that,
like 40 something.
50,
games.
40, 90. There have been like several, but 55,
Price,
40,
yeah.
90.
I'm rooting against him a lot. A whole
like him.
lot. What?
I do. I like him.
Why?
My least favorite player.
He's
in
his
the
burner
playoffs-
account.
Playoffs right now is Joel Embiid.
Come on.
I don't like Joel.
He
How
is
dare
just
you.
a big child.
Yeah.
Can't stop him.
Oh,
Glenn
Unbelievable.
Davis got
He's
the nickname Big Baby.
super
That should have
good.
been Joel.
he's so good.
Only saying that because Luka didn't make it. Luka didn't make the playoffs. He is the biggest baby
Yeah.
by like
No,
a
he's
landslide.
just shorter.
He's okay. He's not the he's the biggest amount
Yeah,
of
he- you know-
baby in his grown body.
Yeah, I think he is actually.
Yeah,
He
he's
complains. He's less
unbelievable.
happy, so it doesn't balance out his grumpiness.
Dude, Embiid's a dog. I'll give it to you. Serious? He's not afraid of anybody. He's gonna. What's the Celtics gonna do?
Why would you be?
Time Lord's out there.
If you're 7'2", 300, why would you be afraid of anyone?
That's modern
That
day
happens.
Shaq.
That happens. More skilled Shaq for sure.
You know
All
who's never afraid of anyone? It's like Drunas Oguaskas.
right. The Big Z.
Yeah,
That's true.
he and Big Country never back down. Greg Ostertag, give me those 2.
Oh yeah. All right, we'll cut it off before everyone goes crazy.
All right, we're stopping. Check us out next week.